Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan, and welcome to Out of the Park Baseball. My name is Ryan Rocks. A little bit of alliteration there. I am taking control of my Washington Nationals, a team that I grew up watching, along with legends like Daniel Murphy, Jason Worth, Ryan Zimmerman, winning a World Series in 2019, not too long ago. But we're in a tough spot. We are currently rebuilding. We are below average market size, below average fan loyalty, below average fan interest in 42. And the problem with rebuilding, right, is, it's kind of hard to do that when you have about more than half of your player budget, $99 million player payroll, on two players, one of which can't play, in Steven Strasburg, and one that also can't play in Patrick Corbin. So it's a little tough. Some acquisitions that they made during the offseason was signing Trevor Williams to a two-year, $13 million deal. Trevor Williams is fine. I just don't potentially see him being on this team by the end of the season. More than likely a trade piece, especially if he does well during the season and the team itself is not doing well. Patrick Corbin obviously is going to be a trade candidate. If anybody can take, I'll gladly hold on to 75-80% of this contract just to free up a roster spot essentially. But he wasn't too bad last year, 64 ERA plus. But considering he was pretty unlucky with his BABIP, Sierra makes him a little closer to a 4 ERA guy, which is probably closer to like a 90 or mid 80s, low 80s kind of ERA plus guy. So the hope is that he at least performs somewhat. He can, he'll eat innings for us. That's the hope at least, and doesn't give up too many runs. 1.7 WHIP is not good for a starting pitcher, especially considering he's the highest paid pitcher that's active on the roster right now. With Strasburg out with thoracic outlet syndrome for 4 months. It's in his elbow. He's fragile. Also, Steven Strasburg is going to be someone I hopefully can trade, but this is probably something I'm just going to have to eat. I think the Nats are probably one of the most difficult saves that you can start. They're looking to rebuild. You got a bunch of players on one-year deals like Yammer Candelario at third base, who's just he's a player. There's no denying that Yammer Candelario is an MLB player. A good one is going to be the question he's going to have to answer on a prove-it deal with us. Corey Dickerson as well. Not a good defender and also not a good hitter, but at least he can perform against righties. He's obviously benched against lefties for us. We'll go through the lineups pretty soon here. Lane Thomas on $2.2 million in arbitration, leading towards $4.2 million in arbitration next year. I don't want to pay him $4.2 million. This is not a $4.2 million player, especially considering we don't have a lot of money. Dom Smith is here. He was good during the year before COVID, year 2020. Here's your COVID year. He had a 162 OPS plus, an extremely limited sample size. In 2019, he also performed pretty well. I don't expect that we're going to see numbers like that with this kind of profile. I haven't signed my scouting director yet, so I'm on OSA ratings until I sign him, which hopefully is tomorrow, but it's opening day today. So we have Kyber Ruiz locked up to a pretty big contract here, about 9 years, 10-year contract, $1 million next year, and then about 5 to 7, and then 12, then 14, and we have a team option. So this is a team-friendly deal for Kyber Ruiz, who is the best player on this team. A guy that does not like to strike out at all. So hopefully he can at least put some balls in play, and balls in play means wreaking havoc, and hopefully wreaking havoc means we score some runs. Erasmo Ramirez, who had a really good performance, I'm pretty sure, for the Nicaraguan World Baseball Classic team. Carl Edwards Jr. is here. Is everyone remember Carl Edwards Jr.? He's here. Kyle Finnegan is here. That's a fun one, but again, we're paying. He's the 5th highest paid player, and he's a reliever on this team, tied with Victor Robles, who at least offers some pretty above average center field defense who hopefully we can take advantage of. But the last 2 years he's had a negative B-WAR, and I don't expect that's going to change with these ratings at all. But at least he can rake a little bit against lefties. So also pretty fast on the base pass. So hopefully that all works out. Kevin Plawecki's here from the Boston Red Sox. He's not good, but he's a player. He's a guy that'll fill up roster spots at least. Lane Thomas, I already went over Lane Thomas. Let's go and take a look at the pitching. This is who I'm going to rock in the beginning. Trevor Williams is going to be our ace with youngsters Mackenzie Gore, Josiah Gray, and Corey Abbott behind them. Youngsters Corey Abbott, less than a year of MLB service time. And then Patrick Corbin's going to be our final. I'm not going to make the mistakes the Nationals had this year in making Patrick Corbin our opening day starter. Hunter Harvey's going to be our closer. Hunter Harvey is very, very talented, almost 100-mile-an-hour fastball kind of guy with a cutter and I think it's a changeup, curveball, excuse me. Kyle Finnegan, Carl Edwards Jr. leads our setup, and then here's the rest of the guys. Here's Anthony Bonda, Mason Thompson, a ground ball guy. Hopefully he can ground out into an okay infield defense. It's certainly not great. Here's Matt Cronin, a lefty guy that a lot of Nationals fans are pretty excited about. Exclusively a reliever. He's just not going to get, with that control, he's not going to get starts here. But my kind of philosophy especially with reliever pitchers and to some extent starting pitchers, is that I don't mind too much control if you can avoid home runs and you can strike guys out. So I'm hoping that Matt Cronin turns into one of those guys, and I hope to see those star ratings go up. Here's Erasmo Ramirez, and then Thad Ward was a Rule 5 draft pick from the Seattle Mariners? Boston Red Sox, excuse me. He's on our roster to start out the year. If I don't like him, I'm going to send him back to Boston. This isn't a profile that particularly excites me. So hopefully that all goes to plan. And then here's our starting lineup. The only players not seeing starting lineup time is Michael Chavez from the Pittsburgh Pirates, Plawecki as our backup catcher, and Ildarma Vargas, who wasn't particularly familiar with last year, but he's here this year. And he played on the Nationals roster. I think did he get traded over here? No, he did not. He granted free agency in 2022. He's been on the team for since last year. Kind of depressing that as a Nationals fans, I didn't even know that because I kind of gave up halfway through the year and I started supporting the Padres. Because go Juan Soto, right? Go Juan Soto, go Josh Bell, etc., etc. He's arbitration. He's not going to get he's not going to get $2.2 million from me. This is not a $2.2 million player for me. If he had elite defense, now we're talking about an Andrelton Simmons kind of guy with really good defense, but he's not. He is not. So he's just about an average infielder defensively, and that's the lineup we're going to start against righties. CJ is obviously the big ticket deal here. I'm having him lead off due to the elite base running and stealing and speed. I'm hoping as many plate appearances and at-bats as possible for him. He's long-term probably a center fielder or even potentially corner outfielder from a shortstop. Doesn't seem to be his primary position. I'd like better defense at shortstop from CJ Abrams. So, but Louis Garcia in second base is just not as good of a defender. So Louis Garcia is more than likely going to stay our second baseman and even potentially third baseman long-term. But hopefully Louis Garcia does pretty well. Kyber Ruiz batting second. Not a prototypical second guy, but hopefully, can hit a single, maybe even a double or something like that, avoid striking out and allow CJ, who hopefully is going to steal a base and or even hit a double here with that pretty good gap power. So Joey Meneses, who last year, stormed the league, hit a 158 OPS plus and a 2.1 WAR in a mere 56 games, 55 starts. So hopefully Joey continues that. Yammer Candelario is going to sit here and bat fifth. Dom Smith is batting sixth. Not, when you have a first baseman, I really don't think that the ideal spot for him is going to be sixth, but he's just that. Big D from Dom Smith. Alex Call, who gets on base. He's a walk, avoid strikeout guy, so hopefully he does pretty well. Pretty good outfield arm. So he's out in right field. Corey Dickerson's going to play left against righties. And as I said, Victor Robles is going to shore up that defensive center field role. Against lefty, not much changes. I move up Alex Call. He's significantly better against lefties. Yaimer Candelario, again, batting 5th. Louis Garcia batting 6th. Lane Thomas gets into the lineup against lefties, a line drive hitter. And Dom Smith, 8. Your DH at 8, and Victor Robles at 9. We're in sorry shape right now. And on top of the fact that our owner expects us to not be completely trash. In fact, he expects us to play close to 500 ball. He expects us to build our farm to top 6 by 2026. He expects to improve fan interest by 2025, and long-term build a team to reach the playoffs within the next 3 years. He's a demanding economizer. An expectation is achieving a winning record. We haven't had a winning record since our World Series run in 2019. So we might get fired. We might just get fired by the learners. So hopefully that doesn't end up happening. What my plan is for this video is for it to be the entire season. Throw it on, watch it all the way through, stop it, come back if you want to. If you're throwing it on and want to watch while you're falling asleep, that's something I do with Out of the Park and even Football Manager and F1 Manager games. This whole season's going to be one video. The off season's going to be the next one. And then next season will be a full episode in itself. So, I will be simming forward to about a month from now so we can kind of get a gauge of how all of the players are doing. And then I'll showcase in July for the All-Star Game roster announcements. Again, any major waiver wire pickups, any major trades, I'll stop and show you guys. And then obviously the amateur draft will be a pretty big thing for the Washington Nationals, who I believe we have the second pick. I think we do have the second pick this year. Hopefully we don't end up in this top 5, but also hoping for a top 5. The biggest problem is that we don't have any money. If we go here to player development, we can go ahead and take a look that our draft budget is $9 million. It's not great. I mean, some number 2 draft picks can demand a $7-8 million signing bonus. So we're in really, really tough waters there. So we're going to have to be really frugal. Our international amateur free agent budget's really, really rough. I couldn't really even up it because we only have $3.9 million total money available this year. And when the season starts and we start bringing up guys who then start getting paid the $720,000 a year, especially towards the end of the season, I don't want to be in the negatives. An attempt is going to be to not get into the negatives and hopefully trade some of these guys if we end up getting into the negatives. So, big goal for this season for me at least is to not suck completely. And if we do suck completely, start bringing in young guys. And speaking of young guys, we'll go ahead and take a look at our top prospects here. The number 37 prospect in the MLB is Robert Hassel III, who we got acquired from the Mackenzie Gore, C.J. Abrams, James Wood for Juan Soto and Josh Bell trade, as well as Luke Voigt. And James Wood, as you saw, good walk guy. Hopefully this power starts developing and this speed and above average defense, at least in left field and right field. We can hope to build something around these two guys. Elijah Green was our first round draft pick. I think he was the number 3 in the first round. Doesn't tell us exactly where, but I think we might have been 5 last year. We drafted Elijah Green, who was a pretty big prospect. But he's the 147th. Kate Cavalli, who tore his UCL in spring training, I believe. March 5th, so I don't think that was quite spring training. But, oh no, it was March. It's March 30th. Had to do a little math there. That's tough. Yarlin Susana is a good one. This is an exciting profile for a starting pitcher. I'm pretty excited about this. A nice 75 fastball. And if even, a couple of these slider, curveball, or changeup, any breaking ball with 60 plus control and potential and stuff rating on the pitcher who's got a good sense of his pitches is certainly something to keep a look at, and I will be watching his statistics. Here's Pablo Aldonis. Gonna start in Double-A. Again, I don't mind this isn't an elite starting pitcher, but this is someone who could hold down the bottom of the rotation or even maybe be in the third spot in the rotation. So hopefully Pablo holds it down here in Double-A to start out the year. He was in A ball. He's gonna skip A+ ball for me. He's 2 stars per OSA, but once my scout comes in and I adjust anything, I'll let you guys know next month. But Cole Henry, Armando Cruz is a really good defender. He's going to start in Fredericksburg in the Carolina League for us. Andrew Lara is a guy that maybe some of you guys have heard his name. Hopefully he ends up being pretty good for us, but it doesn't look like a Dalen Lyle is a pretty big guy here. I think that if he ends up doing pretty well here in rookie ball, as he did last year, at least he's about an average hitter in the rookie league. But rookie league, it's really hard to determine how good a player is going to be, because rookie league is really just like the wild, wild west, isn't it? Jackson Rutledge is obviously a guy that Nats fans know. First round pick in 2019. Totally forgot he was first round pick. Christian Jimenez, I don't particularly know. Yefrem Leon, I don't know. Jake Bennett, I do know. Jake Bennett, hopefully that 70 changeup would be pretty nasty, but how nasty can a changeup be if he's only throwing 91 miles an hour on a fastball? So hopefully this all comes to fruition. At least rookie, at least some of our top prospects at least will be able to play for us in the long term. So all right, well, that's going to be the lineup here. Let me go ahead and do the strategy. I'm going to do Modern Tactician here. This is my basic strategy that I like to go to for lower end teams, especially teams without a lot of pop. And we certainly do not have a lot of pop. If you go to default batting ratings, there's no one over 55. And Joey Meneses is our only guy in the green. So not a lot of pop here. So I'm not too worried about stolen bases, because the big downfall of stealing bases is that a lot of home runs are hit in the major league this year, but this is not the profile of a team that's going to hit. We'll probably end up finishing last in the NL in home runs. Maybe the only other team I could see that might dethrone us as the worst home running team might be the Miami Marlins. But even that's a stretch. So let me go to my game settings. I'll show them real quick, and then we'll keep going. This is what I do. Yes, show ratings max, and I turn off coach cohesion impact. It's the only thing I change here. High realistic modern days. Let me show personality pro ratings, and I usually remove nicknames. 0.91 for development speed, 0.9 for pitcher aging speed, 125 talent change randomness. I have as the hardest difficulty, 5 minutes on the trade deadline, which we will obviously see. And then I turned off league expansions and stuff like that and moving. I like to just kind of keep the game as normal as possible with modern day. But if that needs to change, I can obviously turn it back on in the off season. So if I want to see expansion teams and stuff like that, but I don't imagine we're going to end up 10 years in the future and really, really want an expansion team, barring any sort of, we're dominating or something like that, which hopefully we are. So trades, waiver wires, I will obviously stop, but for the next portion, I will see you guys next month to kind of get a gauge of how the team is starting. So that way we can kind of gauge how we want to move forward with June and July and stuff like that. So see you guys next month, and then after that, I'll see you guys in July. All right. Hello, everyone. It is April 30th up here, as you can see, and we are not completely awful yet. But it has been a pretty rough start. We're 1.5 games back from the wild card spots here, right behind the Diamondbacks and Phillies, though I think we are significantly worse than the Diamondbacks and Phillies, and I think we're significantly worse than the Cardinals and Brewers. So I can't imagine this is where we're going to end up at the end of the year, but it's at least a positive sign. We're 12th in runs scored. We're also tied 11th in the NL for runs against, so our Pythagorean theorem here is probably a lot worse than 12 and 13, a 48% win percentage. One major injury happened, and that was poor Dominic Smith strained his groin. He's out for 4 weeks, which is pretty unfortunate for us, and I believe that is it. I thought a reliever got hurt, but I must be going crazy. Corey Abbott, obviously, it has a strained hamstring. That affects his running. I'm not going to take him off the roster simply because he can't run. I don't expect him to as a pitcher. So he's not had a great year so far at a 6.27 ERA with a 69 ERA plus, but that BABIP and the home run rate is really tough. So we'll see how long he ends up staying in the big leagues right now, because he's not performing particularly well. Someone who is performing very well is Kyle Finnegan. Like I mentioned, this is a very, very good pitcher here in Kyle Finnegan. Again, I just don't know if I'm going to pay him. Thad Ward's had a successful stint for us, our Rule 5 draft pick. I've put him into the starting rotation now because of how well he's done in relief work here. And ground ball pitcher with a nice slider, a nice sinker cutter fastball. So 3 fastball pitch mixed with a slider attached. That's pretty good for me. Josiah Gray's also had a really good start, 6.93 ERA, which is really tough. But a Sierra suggests that this home run rate is not going to be maintained due to the fact that he's striking just about 10, 9.5 Ks per 9, 3 walks per 9, which is right about in line with what his normal peripherals are. Trevor Williams has been elite, 274 ERA plus with a 76 FIP minus, 3.47 Sierra. So if he continues like this, and I can avoid paying him next year $7 million, which I have no interest in doing, I will be very excited. So hopefully that continues. I haven't made any major changes. With Dom Smith being out, Jake Lou has got the call up, and he's going to start as our DH here. Nice gap power, but that's really all about he has to offer. He's not a great defender, so he's going to be our DH, and we're moving Joey Meneses into first base here. Some disappointing players. Kyber Weiss has been extremely disappointing. This 15% walkout, the strikeout rate, I don't expect is going to be maintained with this 80K. And if it does, I will be severely disappointed, because that'll mean his avoid Ks is going to be, once my scout updates, it's going to be dropped. So hopefully that doesn't maintain. CJ Abrams has had a really rough time stealing bases. He's got 5 stolen bases to 2 caught stealing. You really don't want to see that, which lines up with 32 stolen bases and 13 caught stealing. Projection-wise, if he plays all 156 of those games. Joey Meneses has had a good start. I don't expect that, this is going to maintain, but perhaps it does, and he just goes on to have another major season, in which case that's great for us, and I will greatly appreciate it. And Luis Garcia has also dominated this 330 average, but a 350 on-base percentage, because he's only walking 3% of the time. So who knows if he can keep that BABIP luck up. I'm sure if you look at his BABIP here, if you go to view and you go to expanded batting settings, he's got a 408 BABIP. I don't particularly see him maintaining that, so I hope he does. But players like Alex Call have had a really, really rough stuff, a 9 OPS plus in 22 games. It's just really not good at all, but I hope that changes up. So that's kind of the state. No major trades. I haven't made any trades yet. Again, I'm just kind of letting the team play out. I'm more interested in trading as we get towards the middle of the year, and teams start trading, are more willing to trade prospects. I've attempted a few trades, and they're not willing to give up their prospects this early in the year. So once we get to July, which will be when I see you guys again, this ends up being a kind of a different team, and hopefully some trades happen, and we could get some of this inflated budget off the books here. So hopefully that all happens. So a decent start, but hold your expectations, and I will see you guys right around when the All-Star rosters are announced, and we can see the first year player draft. We'll do the trading deadline, and you guys will see the trades that I end up making. So I will see you guys in July. Cross your fingers that we're good. Okay? Are you crossing your fingers? I don't think you're crossing your fingers right now. Cross your fingers. Hey, thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, I'll see you guys in July. Okay, we have our first ever trade this year. It's not a particularly exciting one. This is more for prospects than it really is for Cavan Biggio. Rasmus Ramirez has not been entirely great this year for us. His BABIP's pretty high, but he's also a free agent next year, so I have no incentive to keep him around. On top of the fact that I need a pitching spot to open up, as we have a player coming off the IL that I'm interested in bringing on more than I am interested in keeping around Erasmo Ramirez. Pretty much we're going to get Cavan Biggio for him, which he's a captain, which is really exciting. He's making a bit too much, and we'll probably end up looking to trade him during the offseason, more than likely. But someone that can play first, second, third, and left and right field is with the captain, and pretty good stealing, really good base running. Can walk a lot. He's a lefty bat, so I think that again, really not for him. We're going to be getting Addison Barger from the Blue Jays, who projects to be a really, really good third baseman. who can also play first. And if you really need him to, shortstop and second base. So that's a really good dynamic profile here for an infielder. So I'm pretty excited about grabbing him. We're going to give up Justin Connell, who's more of a non-prospect. He's 24 years old, and this is just not a good enough hitting profile to justify a corner outfield spot. He's a ground ball hitter. He's got high loyalty, high intelligence, but at 24 years old, his development's pretty close to being done here. He's a below average hitter in A+ ball at 24 years old. Not really something that you're too excited about. We're also going to get Damiano Palmegiani from Canada with a high work ethic. He's 23 years old. Again, just a better corner outfielder than Justin Connell is, and we're giving up another non-prospect, 22, almost 23-year-old Vindel Pena. Or Pena. I'm sure it's Pena, then not Pena. They usually just don't have the accents here. Viandel, so sorry, buddy. An international amateur free agent. He's 22 years old. He's in A ball. He's got a 43 OPS plus in 35 games, and hasn't ever particularly hit well in any of the A ball leagues that we've ended up trying to play him at. So he's gone. I think this is a pretty good deal for us. We're gonna have to eat Kevin Biggio's pretty big salary minus $420,000. We're gonna be losing $488,000, but let's also remember that Erasmo Ramirez is making $1 million. So I think this is a good deal long term for us. I don't know really why the Blue Jays are doing it. Probably just a salary dump Kevin Biggio, as their money is going to improve by just roughly $1 million. So I'm more than willing to accept Mike Rizzo, our assistant GM, who is the GM in real life, likes this trade. So we're going to end up taking it. Bada boom, bada bing. As we get a captain in, our teammates are pretty our locker room is pretty excited to get a guy like Kevin Biggio, who is pretty poorly graded, only 2-star. But I'm sure if you move his position to second base, his profiles as a pretty average second baseman in the MLB. So we'll put him into the lineup, and if any other trades or waiver wire additions happen, I will obviously stop like I have right now. And it's currently May 27th, so we're a month away from seeing you guys long-term for the draft and the MLB All-Star Game. So I will see you guys there if no trades happen. But I am going to assume that some more trades are going to happen. Okay, listen. Let me go ahead and emphasize that I simply shop players, right, for the most part, unless I see teams that are doing pretty poorly and I know that, that they're looking to kind of get some of their bigger contracts off their roster, even if they're not on the trade block, and or AAA prospects that are on the 40-man that, potentially aren't, the GMs are particularly interested in, despite the fact that my scout might like them, right? So I shopped Kevin Plawecki because I have actually go ahead and claimed the Oakland Athletics Carlos Perez. They released him on a waiver. He's going to be a free agent next year, but he's just simply better than Plawecki. And also a potential trade piece if he ends up performing pretty well. And so there's no reason for me not to take him on a minimum contract. Even if he's going to be a free agent here, he's a better upgrade than Kevin Plawecki, who is, it's pretty obvious, not a better defensive catcher, not a better hitter than Carlos Perez. So it was a pretty easy decision for me, especially considering Plawecki is a free agent next year too. So I shopped Kevin Plawecki, and they offered me, the Minnesota Twins have offered me Alex Kirilloff, who is a corner outfielder, first baseman, lefty, who is on possible arbitration next year. And I think that if we trade him, he's not on arbitration. I think he gets one more minimum contract year, especially considering he's under the 3-year threshold for arbitration. So I think that we get him. Again, my contract, and the rules change every single year, but I'm 90, I'm not gonna say 99, but 90% sure that we get him for one more year on a minimum and then arbitration, even though I would love to pay this kind of player $1.8 million next year. But we also get 18-year-old out of the Dominican Rookie League, Jose Rodriguez, who both OSA and my scout love his power. and agree with his discipline and avoid Ks. Their only differential is that the gap power and contact is a little less. He's a line drive hitter, so I'm more inclined to believe my scout, my scouting director, for this gap power due to the fact he's a line drive hitter. He's hitting 149 OPS plus this year, and he had a 149 OPS plus last year in rookie ball, in the Dominican Rookie League. So this is kind of a no-brainer, and even Mike Rizzo says if they accept this, they're bigger suckers than I realized. I don't know the Twins' situation with their catcher right now. They have Christian Vasquez on a ridiculous contract here. When was this signed? This was signed in free agency this year. This is a real contract that the Twins signed, I guess, and this is not a great contract for this type of player. What's their backup catcher? Isn't it still, what's his name? Ryan Jeffers. Actually, he has heart palpitations. Stop eating Big Macs. I don't know. Yeah, he's got heart palps. I don't know if it's due to this injury that the AI. They have Kyle Farmer, who can play catcher as well on the roster. I don't know why they're doing this deal. If they're just trying to get, like I said, is he out of option years? No, he's got one more year. They haven't even optioned him this year. And the MLB is a 105 OPS plus, a .1 WAR in 29 games. So he's a bench piece for them right now. And so maybe that's potentially why. No, he's in their starting lineup as their starting first baseman. So listen, I'm not questioning it. Okay. If this is how we need to build this team, as you can see, we're $7 million under the cap. This is how these kind of trades are what are going to launch us out of perpetual rebuilding. So I'm not going to question anything. I'm going to accept this trade without question. And it's June 21st, so I'm pretty close to seeing you guys full long term here. But hopefully this improves our roster, and hopefully this enables a better and easier, more fluid rebuilding phase. And we'll go ahead and check here on Alex Kirilloff. He's a possible arbitration. Again, I'm not too sure exactly what's going to trigger his possible arbitration this year. Let me check real quick if I put him on the 40-man roster here. That doesn't update. So we'll see in July, I suppose, and I guess during the offseason if we need to pay him arbitration. And if we do, I think I'm content with paying him his demand, which is roughly $1.9 million. And in fact, I might even negotiate an extension before he even steps on the field, because this is a good player in a position that we need, with Dom Smith playing first base. I'm not particularly excited about keeping him, as I am excited about Alex Kirilloff. So, yeah, no complaints from me necessarily. He now slots into one of the better players on this team. So, yeah, all right. I will see you guys in about a month for the first year player draft and all-star roster announcement. Okay, this is a significantly bigger trade than I was anticipating I was going to come up with. This is essentially for us a salary dump. We're gonna give away $2.5 million of players, and that's gonna be Corey Dickerson, who in a free agent, and honestly he's performing really well. He's got 343 average, but I'm sure if we go to his BABIP, a 369 BABIP is the most he's ever had at any level of the major league. So by Corey Dickerson, I'm sorry. We're also going to give away Victor Robles. Nationals fans, look away, right? Victor Robles has been our center fielder for the last 3 years since the departure of Michael A. Taylor. And we're going to give him away again. He's a good player. He's got .4 WAR in 73 games, so about half the season now. It's June 24th, by the way, so we're not quite to July. We're going to give up a few prospects. Trey Lipscomb is one of those prospects who could be a decent infielder with these ratings, but just not good enough for me. Switch hitting guy these are his current ratings, and it's just not for me personally. Gabriel Estrada, non-prospect, 24-year-old in rookie complex league. Happy to get rid of him. Jake Alou is a pretty big guy to get rid of. I'm just not a massive fan of gap power, although I find it is important, especially for line drive hitters. But he's not. And on top of the fact that his contact, home run power, discipline, avoid case, just not quite good enough. On top of the fact his defense isn't good enough to keep him long term into the infield, and I also don't want to play him in the outfield with 45 outfield range. So I'm going to get rid of him. And who we're getting in return is Fernando Cruz, who this looks to be a pretty good reliever profile here that I particularly like. He's in AAA right now with a 2.2 SIERA, 280 ERA plus. And in the major league so far, he has a 1.78 SIERA. Even, he's only got 8 innings pitched, but this looks like a good player. He's on a minimum contract. He doesn't have a full year of service time. He's 33, which is a little bit tough, but we're not paying him big bucks, so I'm willing to keep him as a reliever for the time being while we kind of establish our bullpen a little bit. He's a significant upgrade in our bullpen compared to what we have. But the big piece is Michael Ciani. This is what I'm talking about. This is the kind of center fielder that I want on my team. He's a better defender than Victor Robles. He's probably a better hitter. He's a lefty bat, so he's going to do a lot better against righties, who just statistically are there's more righties than there are lefties. Look at that walk strikeout ratio here. This is what it looks like here right now, but I am probably going to immediately put him in the starting lineup. I'm going to start him at center field. This is a high work ethic, high adaptability guy. He's a ground ball hitter, which is a little scary. OSA likes his stealing a little bit more. They also like his hitting stats a little bit more, especially that discipline, which OSA looks to be a little more accurate, at least in terms of this walk to strikeout ratio. So I'm hoping, right, there's a hope that this turns out well, right? I mean, that's going to be the idea. So that's the trade we're going to end up making. Again, salary dump for a decent reliever and hopefully a long-term center fielder for us, especially a lefty bat. We're not retaining any of the contract. Victor Robles was gone next year. I wasn't planning on activating his team option if we could find a better defensive center fielder. Hasn't been hitting great for us. His stealing base ratio isn't great. Every 3 stolen bases, there's 1 caught stealing. So, math is hard, Ryan. 1 out of every 5 stolen bases is a caught stealing. So, I don't know if I did the math like that right, but but Ciani is just as fast as Robles and a better outfielder and a better hitter than Robles. So I think that this is a good trade for us. Hopefully this doesn't come to bite me in the butt. We'll take a look at Trey Lipscomb and Jake Alou. We'll keep an eye on them in the future, but this is the trade we're going to make. I'm going to go ahead and hit it, and all right, if any other trades happen, I'll see you then. If not, I will see you guys in July. I know I keep saying that, and I keep coming back, but so I guess I'll tentatively see you. I will see you right after this. Okay, hi everyone. It's July 9th. The 2023 All-Star teams have been announced, and we are 29 and 60. This is not ideal. We are tied for last in the NL with the Chicago Cubs, but at least we're not spending Chicago Cubs money. They are 15th in the entire major leagues in player payroll. We are 22nd, so I mean we're still spending way too much money to be doing this poorly. But hey, shout out to the Reds and Pirates leading the NL Central. Cardinals, Brewers, Cubs, all who were supposed to be in contention for it are not for the most part. Hunter Green throws very hard, and he is very good, but he's got elbow tendonitis, probably for demolishing that elbow. So we'll take a look at some of the injuries real quick. Sean Doolittle, who came back from an injury halfway through the season, and I activated him into the major league roster. Not too far after, immediately ruptured his ulnar collateral ligament, so he's done for the season, and this is probably the end of his career for Sean Doolittle, who is a Nationals legend. Hunter Harvey also is done for the year. A radial nerve decompression surgery. He's out for 5 to 6 months. He's on the 60-day IL. He's done. Pretty tragic for Hunter Harvey, who was not having a great season for us, but it's pretty unfortunate because he was one of the better relievers that we had throwing 100 miles an hour. So pretty unfortunate. Mason Thompson's pretty close to returning. I'm not particularly excited about it. He's not had a particularly good season. But Steven Strasburg is back. He is in the AAA. He is in Rochester right now on a rehab assignment. He actually has a stomach virus right now, so hopefully he recovers from that. But my scout really still likes him. OSA still likes him. He'll still be our ace, so hopefully we can get him back. Another update, Patrick Corbin, I booted out of the starting lineup. He was just not a very good starter, and he's actually done somewhat decent as a reliever here, as you can see. No earned runs. Looks like 1 earned run in the last 5 games for him as a reliever, only giving up 1 home run, but only striking out about 1 per inning, essentially. That's about it. Carlos Perez has done extremely well. He's a 313 OPS plus. He's batting .559. He's in our starting lineup against lefties as a designated hitter. Just goes to show how good Carlos Perez is. And as I stated, he is unexpectedly, I said he was in a free agent, but now because we have him on the roster, instead of waiving him, he's due for $2.8 million in arbitration. I'll probably look to trade him, and you guys will see all of that for the rest of the video, essentially. Michael Ciani has done about as well as I expected him to, 72 OPS plus so far. But this is what I'm here for. I don't care so much about this. This is what I'm here for, and this is what I'm here for. This is what I'm here for. So increase in talent change randomness will increase because of his high work ethic, and if he can get his eye a little more keen, he will do well. Here's Alex Kirilloff so far. He's had a 135 OPS plus. Again, I don't understand what the Twins were doing with that one. And here is Fernando Cruz from the Reds, who's doing. He's not had a great start. He's at a 6.23 Sierra, which is not good, but that's because he's walking 8 per 9 so far in only 7 innings pitched. So that'll probably go down. Any big success stories? Cabra Ruiz has had a rough year, which is very, very sad for us. Luis Garcia has had a star increase, a half a star. He's now at 3 stars, which I think is justified with these ratings. CJ Abrams is having a decent year so far. 92 OPS plus at shortstop is nothing to scoff at. On top of the fact he's projected to steal almost 50 bags this year, so that's pretty good. Dom Smith, he's just not good enough at a first base. Joey Meneses is still having a Joey Meneses this year, 99 OPS plus, which is just about right. He's about a league average hitter, I suppose. Kevin Biggio has a 67 OPS plus, not great, but he's here for morale than anything else. Alex Call still having an extremely difficult year. Lane Thomas has also having not a good year. This is just not a good team. And if we go to the overall rankings, we are 12th in runs scored. We are dead last by a pretty significant margin in runs against, because our pitching is just atrocious and our defense is not good. Again, CJ Abrams at shortstop is just not a good enough ranged shortstop. Luis Garcia is not a good enough second baseman. I think long-term he'll probably be a third baseman for us. This is just not a good team, so I'm not particularly surprised to be where we're at. But we are slowly on the come up with Alex Kirilloff coming onto the roster. Michael Ciani hopefully is a long-term upgrade and cost-controlled upgrade compared to Victor Robles, who we would have to end up giving either a contract extension or trading away next year anyway, if we ended up taking his vesting option. Donovan Solano's on the waiver wire. No, thank you. So let's go and take a look at the All-Star roster. Here it is. Who's having some good years? Jacob deGrom's having a 3.8 F4 season so far. That's exciting. Dylan Cease is going to get this nod, though. Once he's got a 2.49 ERA, 167 ERA plus. Christian Javier's here. Pablo Lopez, as we saw with the Minnesota starting lineup, starting pitching rotations, having a very good year, and they still are. Here's Yohan Duran, who's going to be the closer. Don't see anybody too particularly interesting. Yona Himes here. Vinny Pasquantino's here. Aldemus Diaz from the Oakland Athletics. Looks like he's going to be the only representative for the Oakland Athletics. Andres Gimenez is having a year. Any fun one? Here's Masataka Yoshida for the Boston Red Sox. Looks like him and Devers are having decent years. Buxton's healthy. That's pretty exciting. Mike Trout's healthy. That's exciting. Aaron Judge is healthy. Hey, Oscar Colas is here in his rookie year. He's going to go ahead and get himself an all-star and fight for AL Rookie of the Year over players like Gunnar Henderson. And, oh man, I'm totally blanking. There's one more big guy that I'm definitely just not remembering. Let's take a look at the National League. Corbin Burns is Corbin Burns. Ryan Feltner is here for Colorado. I'm going to assume that that's because he's their only representative. He's not having a great year. Kershaw's here. Max Fried's here. Verlander. Jake Woodford is here. Right. Jake Woodford is here. I'm assuming as the St. Louis representative. Yeah, it looks like St. Louis is having an abysmal year. They have so many better players. Nolan Arenado's not here. Paul Goldschmidt's not here. Let's go and take a look at the St. Louis team, and let's see if it's because they're injured or they're just genuinely having that bad of a year. They're not injured. Here's Goldie, and here's Arenado. Arenado is still having a fine year. Surprised he's not an all-star this year. Goldie is just having an extremely down year, especially coming off an NL MVP. It's disappointing for the St. Louis Cardinals fans out there, and I think that I'm a little bit worried that we might get a trade of Paul Goldschmidt, who is a free agent in next year, and Nolan Arenado is locked up for a while. But this end of the deal is relatively team friendly, considering his elite defense isn't probably going to go anywhere even with age. So. A little bit scary. Anyway, Jose Alvarado's here. Mark Leiter Jr.'s here. Andrew Chafin's here. Devin Williams, Evan Phillips, Gabriel Moreno, he's going to be up there for NL Rookie of the Year. Looks like he's already got an all-star to boots. Let's see if we can find ours. Matt Mervis is here. Looks not Chicago's only representative. Looks like he was just genuinely voted. He has 14 home runs. I mean, yeah, I guess. Go. Never heard of you, Matt Mervis, but go on, son. Rodolfo Castro's here. John Birdie's here. That's fun. That's some fun ones. Jake Cronenworth looks like Birdie or Castro right here because Cronzone is injured. Ketel Marte's here. Yaimer Candelario is going to be our representative here. And that's a questionable decision, but alas, Yaimer Candelario is officially an all-star. That's exciting. Here's Trey Turner, James Outman in center field for the Dodgers. Nick Castellano makes a all-star appearance, and Jake Fraley makes an all-star appearance for the Cincinnati Reds. So that's exciting. Not too far from now, looks like 7-11. In 2 days, we're going to get the draft. So let's go ahead and fast forward to that. We're going to play Texas today. We lost, and Luis Garcia is injured, and Alex Kirilloff looks like he's been suspended for 4 games. I'll deal with that after the fact. What did he do? Inappropriate content during a game. Yesterday he was ejected from the game for arguing a strike call. And he got suspended 4 games for arguing a strike call? It's a bit ridiculous, MLB. Here's the trading block. Nobody too exciting. Maybe the most exciting is Michael Lorenzen, 2-way legend last year, but this year they've totally toned him down. But he can still play elite outfield defense, so that's exciting. And he can still throw the ball. Too bad he doesn't. It's 2 pitches he completely forgot how to pitch, but they're still in his repertoire. All right, so let's go to the draft again. Let's go and remind ourselves that this is going to have to be a cheap draft. Cheap draft. Hey, Mason Thompson's back. That's exciting. Who did I bring up? John Adon is here, but I like John Adon. I'd like to keep him on the Major League roster. Sierra Wise, John Adon's the worst, but I'll probably send down. Oh, this is AAA, isn't it? Here we go. John Adon still leads it. Patrick Corbin's here. Fernando Cruz is up there. Who's the player? Jake Irvin I just brought up. He's actually having a pretty good run about it, but I don't imagine that's going to continue, so I'm going to send down Jake Irvin, bring back Mason Thompson. We'll set that all up later. Here we go. First-year players draft is coming up here. Enrique Bradfield Jr. is an elite defensive center fielder out of college. Dylan Drews as well is a really good corner outfield piece. He's probably going to be a top 1 or 2 pick. Paul Skeens from LSU is very good, as well as having 2-way potential as a catcher starting pitcher. Don't know how that's going to end up working out. Here's Jacob Gonzalez. He's pretty good. All right, let's go ahead and hop into the draft. OSA mock draft has us taking Dylan Cruz. They have the Pittsburgh Pirates taking Kyle Teal, which I don't see them going. He's from UVA, so that's exciting. Dylan Cruz, I would absolutely love if Dylan Cruz followed me, but he's at a $9 million signing bonus, and as we stated, we are broke. And we have no draft budget. We have a $9 million draft budget. So if we were to take Dylan Cruz, he would take up our entire draft budget. So that's a little unfortunate. Let me go ahead and see if I can move a Patrick Corbin or even Steven Strasburg to free up some roster, because this draft is pretty important. Whoa, what happened in this game? This seemed like is this July 4th? No, we're like right. This is July. I wonder what this day was. Anyway, we maxed out capacity that day. I guess it was free day that day. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at some trades here, and see if I can move Strasburg or Patrick Corbin, both of which I am not interested in keeping on this roster whatsoever. Yammer Candelario I'll probably look around for as well because he's an all-star, but I'm more interested in going to focus on Patrick Corbin and Steven Strasburg right before the draft. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look, see if anybody wants his full contract. Don't even know why I wasted a shop here. I'm going to go 95% and see what we get. That'll free up, that'll free up like $3 million. Ooh, Spencer Packard. Yeah, talk about elite Spencer Packard. He's got an 80 OPS plus in AAA. On top of the fact he can't play defense. So, but salary dump, even our GM is like, yeah, that's good. What if we tone it down by 2? No, I'm not giving up any of these players so that you can reduce our payroll by a couple million. Let's see, just one, and we'll work our way from there. This is what I like to do, a little bit of learning here. Mason Denneberg. I've heard that name, Mason Denneberg. Yeah, I mean, two-way potential, right? Two-way potential is pretty good. He's got some good pitches here. 23 years old. He's still in A-ball. He's pitching well in A-ball. 108, 105 ERA plus, even with a 4.44 BABIP, but 15 strikeouts per 9. I don't see that that's gonna continue. We are in the Carolina League. This is his stuff in the Carolina League. That really sucks. Is there anybody else that I'm a little lower on? Maybe some older guys. Carlos Perez. I think I can get more than just adding him on to trading away Patrick Corbin's contract than that. Andrew Alvarez, I don't want to give up. Obviously, don't want to give up Yasel and Tuna. Jake Bennett. Man, this is really tough. Brandon Collins, I'd like to keep on to. Riley Cornelio. Now, that's a pit player I might be willing to give up. He's 23 years old. He went to TCU, and he's still in rookie ball. He was also in A-ball this year. Looks like the AI didn't like what they saw out of him in AI, and they sent him back down to rookie ball. So I'll go ahead and add, was it Cornelio, right? Riley Cornelio I'll add, and we'll slowly reduce. Oh, man, this is really tough. I don't want to give up Bantune. I really, really don't. Is this really the best we're going to be able to do? Not giving up Joey Meneses. All these guys they're asking for is young. Josiah Gray, I don't particularly want to give up too much. He's got a 3.85 Sierra. Kronov, no. Meneses. Carlos Perez, no. I mean, how much would Carlos Perez get us, right? Only one. Yeah, this holding on to 90% might just be the best we can do. That's going to save us $4 million next year and about $3 million this year. Patrick Corbin has been decent for us. He's got 0 WAR. He's got 65 ERA plus, and even as a reliever, only 50 stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna do it. It's too late. It's already in motion. So that frees up, as we said, about $2 million. He's going to be our second most paid player, but inevitably I think that the Mariners are going to cut him because he's just sincerely that bad. And we'll take a look at what anyone wants. Strasburg, no. 50% of his contract, no. 75% of his contract. I'll just go up to 95. I don't imagine anyone's going to want him, and we might just have to keep Steven Strasburg on our roster, but it looks like we have some players here to look at, to ponder here. Connor Joe's a fun one. but a little too old now. He would have been fun. Darren Ruff's on the Rays now. So there's that. So we got some interesting River San Martin. This is a decent profile. I don't mind. Williams Astudillo is also a fun get. He's really good against lefties. So if you ever, he's really good against lefties. On this save, looks like he's had some positive talent change randomness, because this is a really good profile against lefties. That might actually be interesting. Eric Haas is here, catcher, left fielder. A little more pop than that, you would think. Jake Rogers is here. He's a pretty good defensive center catcher. Was thinking basketball there. Jose Azocar, meh. This is interesting. I am a little interested in River San Martin. He's got a year. He's a potential starter. He's having a pretty good year, and by a pretty good year, I mean a really good year. 150 ERA plus and a 2.5 Sierra. What if I can get Astudillo? How much is Astudillo going to end up asking for him? 2.8 next year. So maybe. No, I mean, it's just so brutal. I think I'd rather keep Steven Strasburg than do any of that. So that's going to be us looking to trade them. And that Patrick Corbin is officially gone. There you go, Spencer Packard. Put you on the 40-man, but you're going straight to AAA. And we're going to go ahead and bring up, how many games is he? He's had only one game in AAA, but I mean, I don't want to hurt him, I guess. So I also don't want to bring somebody else up just to send them back down. It's a little annoying. I guess I'll bring up Jordan Weems. Not good. And don't really have a player. I guess I'll do Ramirez. Are you ready for AAA? He wasn't great in AAA, but he's had some decent starts there in AA. Jackson Rutledge played one game in AAA. I don't know why the AI did that and sent him back down. Jeter Downs is down into AA. A little unfortunate for him. All right, so blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we freed up nothing. We freed up nothing, but hopefully in our negotiations, when we negotiate with the draftees, maybe we can trade players like Trevor Williams, Yeimer Candelario, who's an all-star now. But let's just get right into it. I apologize for the lollygagging. This are players with high work ethic. We're going to delete that filter. Wow, it's a lot of 5-star players here, which actually works in our benefit. I mean, jeez, man, look at these players. I'm on this is not OSA, right? No, it's my head scout. Wow, there are some. Wow, this is an insane draft class here. This might be the best draft class I've ever seen in out of the park baseball history. Blake, this is. I can't even. I don't even know what to say. There's just so many numbers on the screen here that just are like amazing. I mean, look at this. Bryce Eldridge is a potential 2-way player, but he's not. He's not going to sign. He'll be on the thing next year. Dylan Cruz, like I said, $9 million signing bonus, which is really unfortunate, but he is just by far and away the best player here, isn't he? 80 contact, 70 power, 70 eye. A decent defender in left and right field, corner outfielder. I mean, big ups to Aiden Miller here, who is impossible to sign for the Washington Nationals. Blake Mitchell, he wants the slot. What's OSA say about Blake Mitchell? Far lower than my scout. Paul Skeens, however you say that, is here. He's going to be a top 5 pick, I think, this year in real life. Here's Willie Gasparino, who's only going to demand $800,000, but he's got a low work ethic. It's a little unfortunate. All right, well, let's see who Pittsburgh drafts, and then we'll make our decision from there. They're going to take the pitcher, Paul Skenes, however you say his name, potential 2-way player. My scouting director is going to recommend me Dylan Cruz. Okay, so he's reduced his bonus demand to $8.25 million, which actually gives us a little bit of breathing room. But also, there's so many good players in this draft class. That, there's the potential argument to be had that taking him really handicaps us. but also he's just the best player in the draft. It's really hard to make an argument that he's not. So I'm gonna draft him. I'm gonna draft Dylan Cruz, and we'll see what we can do with our budget. Let's see. Let's auto draft until our pick again, and most of these guys are still here, which is what I was expecting. So that's pretty good. So we got players like Aiden Miller. He's not gonna sign with anyone. Bryce Eldridge. That's a big no. Willie Gasparino is $800,000. That's very nice for us considering we have just about $1 million in the budget. So that would be very good for us. I don't see how this guy's a 5-star player. I get that 80 contact, but not a particularly good defender. But he's sorry. Does he have pitches? He does have pitches. He's got a fastball, curveball, changeup. He's throwing 91 and 93 on that. That's pretty impressive. Makes sense. He's third baseman. Aiden Miller's here again. Aiden Miller is not signing, and then Trey Phelps. This is low work ethic though. That's tough. Very tough. Here's Nolan McLean, who looks like another two-way player, potential bullpen / looks like third baseman. Prototype here. Now, pitching is really, really what we need. But man, it's really hard to deny someone like Trey Phelps or a Willie Gasparino, who's both of them have low work ethics, which is a little nerve-wracking. How much is Trey Phelps? I think I like Trey Phelps' profile just a little bit more. 950 versus 800. Scouting director recommends Trey Phelps. So, like I said, I'm going to go with my gut here, and I'm going to take Trey Phelps. I will show you guys the top 5 picks, and from there we'll move on. So now we only have $230,000 left. That's all we got. And Gasparino, I think that Gasparino might just have to be more of the waiting game for him. If he ends up falling to, he's asking for the slot, and if we can get him after the 5th round, I think that if we could sign him for free, that would be ideal. I think we need to take a look at some starting pitchers here, and there's 2 here that our scout likes here. Again, curveball, changeup. If that gets high, that's wicked, right? Let's see if any of them. Let's see how much they're all going to ask for. He's going to ask for the slot. James Hayes is going to ask for the slot. So we need to reduce our budget. We need to free up $1 million here. So trading a player like Candelario will get us about halfway there. Trevor Williams to get us halfway there. Kevin Biggio might just put us over. Carl Edwards Jr. would also put us over. Dominic Smith would put us over. So I think that we do take one of the slots. Take one of the slot guys. Gasparino wants the slot. Oh man, really. This is a really good. It's really good. My scouting director tells me to take. All right, we're gonna take him. We're going to be over budget now. But I think long term, I think it's just worth it. I think these guys still want the slot. No, he wants $1 million. And he is the only... Okay, where's James? That's James Hayes. Derek Schaefer wants 1.2. I don't know if we can afford those guys. Is there any other... Let's go and take a look at the starting pitchers. See if there's any 3-star guys that I particularly like. This is not bad. High work ethic, low intelligence. He's also a 2-way potential. How much does he want? He wants $750,000. It's not author. How much does Xander Mweth want? He wants 1.2. My director recommends that I take Bryce Matthews for the slot. I'm not gonna do that. I think I have to go pitcher here. And the question is, I think Capochi makes the most sense for 2-way potential and a pretty relatively cheap. He wants the slot, so we will take a chance at that. And if we don't get him, then we don't get him. Looks like starter pitcher pool has declined, so let's go ahead and take a look at. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the hitters that are still on the board here. Brandon Wincor is here. He won $650,000. It's a good, decent profile here. Nazan Zanatello. There you go. High work ethic. That's always exciting. Wincor has high leader and loyalty. Will any of them sign for free? It's 5th round. 5th round. This is our last pick. They won about the slot, which isn't particularly too surprising. Brody Drost, excuse me. We'll see if there's any like sneaky pitchers that actually can hit. This isn't awful for a catcher here. He only wants 360,000. I think we could probably wait on that and take him a little later. Take a look at the power guys. No one was 70 power. I mean, this is 8 million's really, really good, huh? Too exciting about there. We got some good guys with some good eye. Someone like George Walcott might be someone I look in the later rounds. As well as Jonathan Gonzalez. High intelligence is never hurts development. Never hurts development. But some of these, yeah, I think we're just going to have to end up taking a slot guy. And versus yeah, I think Wincor is just a slightly better player, but it's sincerely not by much. So we'll go ahead and draft him. All right, so that's the first 5. So if we see any player from this point on, end up being pretty good in the later rounds, and that was me. But just not going to show it. So I'm going to come back when we start talking and discussing with the draftees, and we're going to have to trade a lot of the roster. I mean, we're last. The playoffs are gone. I think we need to trade pretty much every player that's going to end up in either free agency or a really high arbitration case that we simply cannot afford or not interested in paying them. And we're going to have to move them for prospects and or just simply salary dumps, right? To be able to sign some of these young guys. So we're going to do that, and I will be back when I am done with the draft. Okay, so the American League has won the All-Star game, and we have concluded the first-year player draft. Dylan Cruz obviously is our big prospect who we are very, very, very interested in meeting his demands. Trey Phelps is a really, really good pickup. We have 3 5-star potential guys per our scouting director, so who knows? And then Francesco Capocci is the guy you guys saw me draft. And then Brandon Wincor is our 5th round draft pick. If you want to take a quick peek at some of the names I drafted, here they are. Drafted a lot of starting pitchers in the middle rounds as they started to dwindle down. And players that I was interested in taking. So players like Brandon Oliveira, Braxton Stewart, Paul Gurney, Charles Batista, Tyler Ball. It's just some basic usually high work ethic or high intelligence guys I usually draft pretty late on. Here's Brandon Oliveira as the 9th round pick for us. One of our last draft picks. I always love drafting RJ Mayer. He has 90 outfield range. He had it last year, and I think he had it the year before, if I can remember correctly. But what I love to do is I set the game strategy and I force them to start him at center field because this is such a good center fielder profile here with 90 outfield range. I don't even care about the error or arm, but if he can even get like all 50s here, the talent change randomness or development wise, he would be one of the best defensive center fielders the game has ever seen with this 90 outfield range. You can see left field and right field has got 95 position ratings. I think he taps out at about 90 position rating just simply because of the outfield range. His arm is trash. He can't hit, but this ability to patrol center field with such efficiency is absurd. So I always end up drafting RJ Mayer, usually last or second to last. Our last pick was Stone Russell, who I don't even think was even that bad of a pick. He just fell through the ranks simply because he probably has high greed and low work ethic. Um, yeah, so that is that. We have moved forward one day, so that means we do have trade. We do have trade options available to us, and I think one of the first people that I'm gonna be looking to trade right now is gonna be Trevor Williams. I haven't moved forward today, but he's gonna be one of them. Kevin Biggio as well. He's good as a captain, but he just costs too much money, and we have youngsters that we want to sign. And speaking of which, I'm going to go ahead and give Dylan Cruz his signing bonus right now. And I think we can afford Trey Phelps right now, I'm pretty sure. Yes, so we can afford him, but this we cannot afford. We have a budget of $230,000, so we need to clear up about $2 million in this money available. So for reference, when you set your draft budget, you can go over your draft budget so long as you have money available, which we do not, obviously. So we're going to have to clear out some roster space here. Did I move forward today? I don't think I did. Nope. So we're going to move forward today into tomorrow. Yep, Trey Phelps is signed. That is very exciting. Our second round pick. This is just... this low work ethic really scares me, and this ground ball hitter really scares me, on top of the fact he can't really play a defensive position other than first base, and he would probably be a Gold Glove caliber first baseman with these infield ratings, but first he needs to work on that bat, so hopefully he continues to do that while he is on in the organization. So let's go ahead and start taking a look at some of the offers for Trevor Williams. Take a quick sip of water. Okay. So we're not going to have any problems clearing up this money, because look like people are interested in him simply because he's having a pretty good year. Nearly 2 WAR years so far. Going into July, Ryan Yarbrough is a very exciting player, someone who always overperforms their ratings. As you can even see here, he's got a 1.95 ERA plus in AAA and a 1.10 ERA plus in major leagues, but he also costs $1 billion, so no thank you. Fujinami's really fun. I am a fan of this profile here, but he's selfish, and he's making $3 million for the next 3 years or something like that, so I'm gonna pass. This is supposed to be a salary dump, and we don't get a lot of salary dump options here. Dylan Peters is an option, but not a great one. I'm not gonna what happened to Justin Dunn? Tayron Guerrero is fun. He throws 100 miles an hour, so that's exciting. He makes the minimum. Does he have any service time? Yeah, he does. Oh, right here. Sorry, totally brain farted there. Chris Martin, I'm not interested in. Spencer Turnbull, no thanks. Makes too much money. Nick Senzel, no thanks. Makes too much money. So, okay, so we got a few options here. Dylan Peters is one. Kent Emanuel is one. Extreme ground ball, that's okay. Kent Emanuel, he's a lefty. He's got high work ethic. He's 31 years old. He's only got a year of service time, none of which happened this year. He has a 92 ERA plus with a 4.04 BABIP. He's an extreme ground baller with no defense behind him, it looks like. And I don't think we'll really give him a better infield to work with either. I think the most exciting one for me was Tayron Guerrero. I like this profile. He throws 100 miles an hour. So, and we've done a deal with the Reds before, and so let's make it happen again. We're going to free up $2.3 million just this year alone. Not even counting the $7 million we're going to be freeing up next year. So, even straight up, I would be happy with this. But, what I always recommend whenever you do these shop players, you take a look at some of the options that they want. Now, we could get this Victor Acosta guy, who my scout has as a 4.5-star prospect. We could give up an Elijah Green, and this is usually because this OSA rating always is significantly higher on Elijah Green. I'm going to hold on to him. I don't want to trade any big prospects like Susana or Elijah Green right now, even if my scout isn't particularly high on them. Can't imagine that they're going to accept any of this. I'm not even going to try for Noelvi Marte, who they got in the Luis Castillo trade. We got a reliever here who they're a little more inclined to trade. Is there anyone with a big contract here that I'll be willing to trade away? No, I don't think so. This is a fun guy though. He's only got 2 pitches, so he's forever gonna be a reliever. But that's fun. Matt McClain. Any old guys they want? No, they only want young guys. That makes sense. Their team mindset is rebuilding. That would make sense. Jay Allen II. Again, if there any non-prospects here, because they're not particularly high on their prospects, and I will gladly yoink them. I can't imagine Cam Collier. Yeah. What does that say? Forget about it. Forget about it. Ellie De La Cruz, I'm sure, is in the same boat. They really high overall rankings on him. Chase Petty, I'm sure, is the same way. I think he was a top 5 round draft pick. Carlos Jorge, I've never heard of, but they don't want to get rid of him. Rese Hins from America. Didn't know that was I thought this was going to be like a Dutch name or something like that. Yeah, maybe Zach Maxwell, closer. A little more inclined to it, but not much. But this is fine. Let's see if we can get them to retain some of his contract. We'll see. Let's see how much we can get out of them, and then we'll try for cash. Okay, so only, what is that? Like $50,000 here. So let's see. I'm sure we can get more in cash. I always go with $1 million. Just to gauge what they're willing to give, and I usually half it. It's kind of scumming the system here a little bit because they've updated in the new hard mode where you can't do something like this, which I totally get. So they're not even going to give us $250,000 that way. So we're just going to do the manual salary retention, which is going to be about $50,000. So that's fine. We're going to go ahead and complete this trade. Goodbye, Trevor Williams, as we are now officially going into absolute and utter tank mode. We're going to add Guerrero to our starting roster here. We are in complete tank mode, so that frees up about $1 million. Yaimer Candelario, who's an all-star, by the way, this year, is going to go up on the market. Let's go ahead and see what we can get for a 2023 all-star. It's not good. It's not great. G-Man Choice fun. Dieter Gregorius is fun. He's on the Moneyball A's here. How the A's doing? Always love doing an A save. Yeah, that's about right. Again, right, Sam Gallagher is a guy. Again, this is really trying to dump. I was really hoping for something better. I don't know if I want to waste another player shop attempt on just reducing it to veterans, but I think to just prospects, but I think I'm going to. Yeah, and that was a complete waste, and now we have to spend another shop. So I remember Sam Gallagher, I think, was the only guy that was on a minimum contract, and he's on the Guardians, if I remember correctly. Yep. So Gallagher, we'll give you Yaimer Candelario, and we'll take a look at some of your prospects and hope we can get something. Nothing excited about, but Mike Rizzo is not against it. Yeah. Daniel Espino is not going to be traded to us. I'll put money on it, but I guess it doesn't hurt to take a look at what they want. Yeah, I didn't think so. Angel Martinez, I'm sure, is in the same boat. He's a top 100 prospect. Even with 60, he's on the Major League roster right now. Wow, good for him. Can't imagine that they're going to, yeah. Will Brennan's a fun prospect. He's going to be good. Let's see. Any of these minor league infielders? How about Alberto Mendez? No. Bo Naylor, I can't even imagine they're going to even think about. Nope. Same thing with Rocchio here. Nope. Looks like he's on the 40-man, and he is on the Major League roster. Which we are going to end up doing as well. James Wood and Robert Hassel will probably be making their debuts, barring any sort of big, significant rating adjustments or anything like that, or if I feel like they need more time. All right, and let's go ahead and see if we can get $1 million out of them. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Nope. How about 500,000? Nope. How about 250,000? Yes. Let's see if they'll retain any of his contract. They will. Okay, so we're getting pretty close here. We're right at about -$1 million. Goodbye, Yammer Candelario. Congrats on being an all-star, but no longer for the Washington Nationals. He goes over to the AL, to the Cleveland Guardians. That's exciting for him. I'm sure he's going to be happy about that because this is pit of misery, dilly-dilly. All right, so we're now at -$876,000. That's exciting. Kevin Biggio, yes. Sorry, Kevin. Probably get two shops left today, and then we'll do one more shop tomorrow, and then I will sim forward to the trade deadline so we can have at least a little bit something to look forward to. Yeah, I didn't expect anyone's going to want Kevin. Kyle Finnegan, though, might be somebody that is a different story. He's a solid reliever, and as you know, big teams like to shore up their bullpen in July, right before the playoffs start. And we do not get anything too particularly interesting. In fact, this is just atrocious. This goes to show how difficult it is to trade on extremely hard difficulty. Granted, that one Minnesota Twins trade, I guess I probably took all my luck with that one. Yeah, I mean the best grab here is Eric Haas. But he's just not particularly exciting. We would save, I wonder how much we would end up even saving. Kyle Crick. I don't really mind this. He's got one option year left. Rengifo is interesting, but again, I'm not interested in signing him to arbitration. 89 OPS plus second baseman who can't walk. He can't walk. He's in a wheelchair. Here's Kent Emanuel again, and here's Tyler Webb from Exmoor, Virginia. I don't even know where that is in Virginia. Not going to trade for a 35-year-old reliever on a 2-year deal. Luke Weaver is a guy, and he'll be a free agent next year, but I'm going to pass. I should probably take Haas since we traded away Carlos Perez. We don't have a better catcher as a backup. And it's just, again, we're just salary dumping here. We're going to reduce it to $167,000. Let's go ahead and take a look at, see if they're going to give me any prospects that they're not particularly high on that perhaps I can take. Again, these are all guys on minimum contracts. That's not bad. There we go. Brand Herder. Okay. We're going to have to, we're trying to salary dump, but that's going to cost money. Andrew Alvarez, who only throws 89 to 90 miles an hour. 24 years old. Where is he? A+ ball. And he's got a positive fit minus. For this guy, he's on a minimum 8-day contract. 8 days of major league service time. He's sliders, changeup, sinker, ground ball guy. He's a lefty. Yeah. Yes. Question mark. We're gonna see if they'll retain any of that money. Okay. Whoa. Justin Henry Malloy. That's a fun guy. Who do they want? They want Antuna, who I'm not particularly excited about trading away due to his he's a pretty big. He's suspended 5. He got into ejection. I think we got to get rid of him. Okay. I like this profile more. I think similar profiles, gap and walk guys with low who strike out a bunch. He's in AA. He's hitting 88 OPS plus, but in AAA. Last year he had a 122 OPS plus. He's always had a positive OPS plus, so we'll take a shot in the dark at him. And let's see who are some of the other guys. Oh, here's Carlos Perez, who I do need to trade. Unfortunately, I do need to trade. Would you take Kevin Biggio? They would take Kevin Biggio if I added a random minor leaguer. Okay, now we're talking. Now we're cooking. We're cooking. Tostado. Oh, oof. Okay. Yeah, buy Wilmer Perez. So that would put us at plus 574,000. Let's see if they will add on any sort of How about Isaac Pacheco? No. Okay, so let's see if they'll add on $1 million. They would. Okay, would you give me $2 million? That would be this is going to be, oh my god, this is going to be a massive, massive trade for us. This is phenomenal. Again, a little gamey. Okay, so by 530,000, so like, would you do 2.25 mil? No. Can I squeeze another 100,000 out of that 2 million? Yes, I can. And we can see if they'll retain. They will retain, like, it's like $15,000. Yeah. Okay, so this is great. This is a great trade for us. I'm really happy that I could showcase some of the thought process and the struggles of trading and stuff like that, and some of the ins and outs on how to get the best out, especially with hard trading difficulty. So a reminder, we're giving up Kyle Finnegan. Bye, Kyle Finnegan. Salute, but he's just not had a great year. Andrew Alvarez, it's pretty rough, but I think I'm going to give up Alvarez and Antuna to ensure that we're going to get rid of Kevin Biggio off the payroll, as well as this non-prospect and Wilmer Perez. We're going to get Eric Haas, who's going to end up in free agency next year because we're not going to sign him to a deal. Brant Herter on only 8 days of Major League service. He's going to be shirted up for the next 3 years as a nice lefty, potentially starter, more than likely bullpen guy. Pretty happy about that. And then we're also going to get Justin Henry Malloy, who's high intelligence, can play infield and outfield. And if that eye can get to 70, we are cooking with some gas. So let's go ahead and do it. Bada boom, bada bing. So sorry, Kevin Biggio. You're a captain. You're a legend. I appreciate your time here. You gave us negative WAR, but now we are talking. We have $3.2 million now. That is how we do it. All right, let's go and take a look and see if anybody... Oh, no, can't do that. So let's go ahead and negotiate with the draftees. Now that we have $1.12 million to go with, as you can see right here. We'll go ahead and offer him that. We can afford this. We have $2 million. Yep. And we will give Brandon Wincourt our last and final. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, that is a massive, massive success. Massive success. Yu Chang's on the waiver wire. Sag. Got a big Yu Chang fan, but just not quite good enough for me to activate a waiver wire thing on him, especially considering he's going to be asking for roughly $2.4 million in arbitration. Okay, so let's zoom forward one more day. Okay, and then I will show you guys. Let's go ahead and look for some more trades here. Carl Edwards Jr. Let's see if anybody wants him. Okay, we have some takers, but they're looking to put, kind of do a reverse me, right? They're trying to give me some of their contracts. I'm not interested. I'm willing to just eat the $2.2 million this year, considering that the reason we're trying to free up the budget was the draftees, and we have officially gotten them gone. Let's go and take a look at who's going to make the most next year for us. Lane Thomas at $3.8 million. That's a little scary, but I think I'm going to hold on to most of these arbitration guys until next year, barring I'll shop them during the trade deadline, and we can see that. Dom Smith, I am interested in trading away this year. Just no interest in having him on my starting roster, especially considering that he might just be able to get we might be able to get something out of him. Nope. Not getting anything out of him. Carlos Perez, $2.2 million for a catcher this good is pretty exciting. However, with someone like Kyber Ruiz here, and I think as a backup catcher, I think we want a guy who's a captain to shore up the leadership here. So we'll take a look at who we could potentially get for Carlos Perez. Again, a waiver wire addition. If we can get prospects out of someone that we picked up on the waivers, I'd call that a massive success for this front office. So. And we don't get anybody great. Cole Sands is a guy. I do know Cole Sands. The Twins looking for another catcher. Ivan Castillo. It's fun. This is a fun profile, but it's probably not good enough. And I think that the value of Carlos Perez during arbitration, I think as a backup catcher offers a little more value than any of that. Michael Chavez, I'm not even going to waste my time looking to see if anybody wants him. Same thing with Yadiel Hernandez. I guess I'll take a look for Yadiel. He's just not a good enough defender for me personally. He's a really good hitter, but just I need that balance between, hitting and defense, and Yadi Hernandez does not offer that. We get some we actually get some decent options here. We get Dark Hall, who is starting first base for the Phillies right now with oh my god, Rhys Hoskins. Oh my god, I can't believe I blanked on Rhys Hoskins' name as a Nats fan. That's embarrassing. I apologize. He's from Bisbee, Arizona. This is again, it's not an awful, not an awful. Okay, whoa. Hey, Nick Nels. It's like, hey. He's due for arbitration next year, which is a little disappointing, but this might just be a good enough pitcher where I might be willing to eat. He's 5.1 walks per 9. See that if that's closer to 40 or 35. Let me think. Is he good enough to start? I mean, let's think about it, right? Well, let's look at the other guys. Fastball, slider, changeup, cutter, throwing 97. Edmundo Mosa, Amanda Sosa, no thanks. Alec Baum, no thanks. The big ones are going to be Dark Hall and Nick Nelson. Nick Nelson says he's for arbitration, but I think that if we trade him, it looks like it's telling me he's going to be continuing on the minimum. Can I get both of them? Do I even want both of them? Do I even want Dark Hall? See, in real life, I'm pretty high on Dark Hall. I like his big body structure, and I'm a big fan of his swing. But in this game, this probably isn't good enough. So I'm going to take Nick Nelson. I'm going to cash in on Yadi Hernandez, a 36-year-old, pretty much, left fielder who can't play left field. Let me get this Rosario guy. Whoa. Slow down. Okay, 3-star. No. How about Carlos Perez? Okay. They're a little interested. I don't really want to trade away Joey, considering he's going to continue on a minimum deal, and he's a pretty decent hitter. Again, look at him. They're trying to get Siani out of me. I tried to tell you guys the value of Siani. He's so good. This 75 outfield range is very, very good. So who else was I thinking about getting rid of? Carl Edwards Jr. What just total salary dump? Oh, they can't afford the salary dump. Okay, never mind. Sorry. I apologize. That's my bad. I mean, I could... Okay. So now we're at a crossroads, right? Where we could give away Carlos Perez, who could be good enough to play next year. And if we're thinking that we're going to be competitive next year, we should hold on to. And the same thing goes for Joey Meneses. We got two really good guys that can mash lefties and play some positions where we're a little bit lacking behind. Or do we just go full tank and we go for the prospects and the risk of going for a guy that's 4-star per my scout and 3-star per OSA? That's a little stressful for me. Josiah Gray. God, that movement in extreme fly ball, man, that just makes me want to throw up. Okay, well, let's look at what else we got here. Would they give me... Come on, Andrew Painter. He's not even that good. Look at him. He's trash. Okay, so they're not going to give me Andrew Painter. How about Jorge Mendez? Okay, it's the same thing, right? I mean, what if we go with both of them? They want Mackenzie Gore, Robert Hassel III, who my scout is liking less and less as time goes on. No. So let's go with Joey Meneses and let's offer them Carlos Perez. I mean, we could just go full tank, right? Okay, we can't go full tank. They're not interested in giving us both of them. They're interested in Joey Meneses, though. Man, that's tough. Jorge Mendez. Again, they'll give us Jorge Mendes, or they'll give me one or the other for Carlos Perez or something like that, or Joey Meneses. I think the thing with Joey Meneses is, right, so let's have a deep philosophical conversation about offensive players and out of the park baseball, especially first base. I think that in free agency with players like Vogelbach, G-Man Choi, who usually get released by their respective team in arbitration hearings, I think we can get a better hitter than Joey Meneses in free agency next year. Now, the problem with that is that we're going to have to sign them to a contract versus when Joey Meneses now is up to 3 years of minimum contract. So last year, this year, and next year, he's going to get minimum contracts. After that, he's going to start asking for arbitration, and he's going to be 33. The question is do we want to, do we want a 32-year-old Joey Meneses on a minimum contract next year and potentially arbitration, which would roughly be about $1.8 to $2.2 million? Or do we just want to cash in now and go for really filling up our relatively weak farm system right now? And just go for, be a shark in free agency and really try and get the most value out of the players that are in free agency who are 2.5-star players that aren't going to get the bigger contracts and even potentially could ask for a minor league contract. Or do we just stick with Joey Meneses, right? Like that's the problem. We're gonna have to get Joey Meneses and Carlos Perez, who both positions can be filled in free agency with relative success, right? Depending on the players that we choose, and then obviously injuries, et cetera, et cetera. Both in their 30s, Carlos Perez and Joey Meneses. I am so sorry that it's taken me so long to think about that, but I feel like that's a relatively good philosophical question in the world of being a baseball GM, right? We have this opportunity to get two guys who our scouting director is telling us he really, really likes, which is in contradiction to what the general OSA is saying. The general scouting system is saying. And do we trust our scout? I mean, I think for the most part, Brody, our scouting director, has been pretty accurate with like players like Alex Kirilloff, the success of like Louis Garcia. CJ Abrams has played really well this year. Be able to grab Siani, who was a 2.5-star player when we grabbed him, and now he's a 3-star player because of that elite center field defense that our scout was correct on. It's a question, right? It's a good one. Well, let's see who. Okay, well, let's add Joey Meneses and let's add Carlos Perez, right? And let's see, can we get both of them? No. So this is the issue, right? I mean, what if we take? Where is he? What if we take away Yadiel Hernandez? Okay, no, they want Yadiel Hernandez. Okay, I apologize. I mean, I should have assumed that, considering that's what started the entire negotiations. And now they want something more for both of them, and that's the issue, right? I mean, surely we can find something. Like, do you want Spencer Packard? I really don't. Do you want Spencer Packard? They're willing to discuss it with little success. I don't want to trade any one of my catchers. Someone like Stone Garrett, who in real life has actually been called up. He's fast, but he's big in real life. He's a lot big. I don't think he's 195 right now. He's from Sugar Land, Texas. Would you be interested in Stone Garrett? No. Okay, we got to try and find a player that they want. How about Derek Hill? No. He's fast. Carter Kieboom? No. Okay, I'm trying to find someone. Jake Knoll. That's a good one. No. This is tough. Albert Baldonado? Nope. How about Paulo Espino? 38-year-olds. Let's look at AA really quickly. We'll take a quick browse. Lucius Fox has a decent pro. How about Jeter Downs? No. How about Lucius Fox? No. And not if we retain anything. What if we retain something? What if we retain all of Yadi's contract? Okay, so we don't really, again, we don't need the extra cash. What if we retain all three? No, they don't care. The money's not really an issue to them, despite the fact it clearly should be. Oh, man, I really want to do this deal. Love Nick Nelson. I don't mind that, but Jorge Mendez and Knifey Rosario. Okay, I'm going to keep trying, and then I will come back when we figure out an offer. Okay? Okay. All right, we are just simply going to trade Yadi Hernandez for Nick Nelson. Okay? We'll get Rosario, and we'll throw on whoever they wanted. I don't think they wanted to give me much for Rosario. I think it was Jorge Mendez that they were willing to give me a little bit of leeway on. Yeah, so a player like Perez or Joey Meneses. So that's like the issue, right? Is that we'd have to give up something like that to the Phillies. Ugh. No, I'm going to pass. You can have Yadi Hernandez, and we'll take Nick Nelson without too much of a complaint. And we'll take this closer. Thank you. Yeah, that'll be that. They don't have any cash, so we're just going to have to ask them to retain Nick Nelson. All right, bye, Yadiel Hernandez. That was a good trade. God, my eyes hurt. I was like, oh, I have no idea how long I was sitting there looking for a trade for. All right, how many shops do we have still remaining? We have one more. I'm really, really, really tempted to take a look at who I could get for Joey Meneses. So again, if we go down here to Joey Meneses, so we get him for this year and next year, $720, but he's asked for $3 million. And he's going to be 33 years old. So let's see who we can get out of Joey Meneses. And, we still have the trade deadline to go through. So if you're still tuning in, I sincerely appreciate it. To prove that you've tuned in this long, I suppose I should ask some sort of question. Who's the first player that you think of that was not a good player that you just liked, right? When you were a kid or growing up or something like that? Who's a player that just like objectively look at their statistics, you're like, wow, they were a bad player. But then when you remember watching them, you're thinking like they're a good player. Like before you were old enough to recognize like statistics and stuff like that. You're just like, they're a good player. Mine is Travis Janikowski for the San Diego Padres. Well, to be fair, Janikowski is now being rostered by a lot of teams. This is a fun guy. Has been rostered, and I think he was on the Mets last year, and I think he's on the the Angels. He's on another team. Just don't remember which one. Okay, we're getting some decent offers for Joey Meneses here, so I'm pretty happy about that. Here's Jonathan Aranda. He's a fun guy. He can play first base, but I think he's probably better suited to like a third base or a second base to get the most value out of him. But still, first base is nothing to scoff at. Not interested in Harold Marios, nor am I interested in Luke Raley. Neither am I interested in Yuli Gurriel, and nor am I interested in Aaron Ashby, despite the fact this is a very good profile. I am not interested in this contract. Even if it does turn out to be good. Ronnie Garcia, no thank you. Jorge Mateo, no thank you. Tyler Hill's a really interesting one. He's a good contact guy. He's batting 107 OPS plus and 300 in AAA so far. It's only been 24 games. Though I think that objectively, Jonathan Aranda is a better player. So we're going to go with Jonathan Aranda. There's a famous saying, don't trade with the Padres, but I think that we might just be winning this trade. Hey, can I have you see the response? Your proposal is headed to the circular file. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I understand. Forget about it. Okay. They're just really not happy at me. Curtis Mead, yeah, these are all really, really good top prospects. Those top three there, and I'm not particularly shocked that they're rejecting. Take a shot every single time I say particularly. Don't know why I keep saying it. Will you give me Evan Reifart? I said fart. Evan Reifart. Definitely Reifert. No thanks. Okay, so we have officially traded with the Rays. Can I get like $1 million in cash? No. Yeah, it's the Rays. I mean, to be fair, it is the Rays. All right, bye joining us as Sag, but that's how it is. Oh man, this has turned out to, there's so much roster turn going on right now. I am mentally exhausted, but we're going to keep going. We got to keep going. We got to push on. We got the trade deadline pretty soon here. So here's the Yadiel Hernandez heading to the Philadelphia Phillies. I hope he has fun. And we got Nick Nelson and a lefty reliever in Arubio Armenta from Tijuana in Mexico. And then we, by Joey Meneses, salute. Thank you so much for your Suvas, also from Mexico, but he's from, now see, with Spanish, I don't think that they ever C's is a S. So is it Culican? Or is it Sulican? Or Culisan? I haven't taken Spanish since high school and since I was in college, so I sincerely apologize to any Mexican viewers that my Spanish is so rusty. To the point where it doesn't even sound like I speak Spanish. But I promise I do. I can understand it. JD Davis, not just doubles Davis, no thanks. Okay, so tomorrow, let's move forward one more day and we'll take a look at some. Well, hello there, Jordan Hicks. Hey. Oh, man, they gave him an extension. That's ugly, Houston. Why the freak would you do that? That's not cool. I love Jordan Hicks in this game, but man, him signing, I totally would yank him off the waivers. He's on 5 years Major League Service time. He would have been a free agent anyway, but it is quite unfortunate, isn't it? So, okay, so we have two catchers in Sam Gallagher and Eric Haas. I think Gallagher was on the Royals last year, yeah. Gallagher he's on his last option year. That's exciting. I think I'm more interested in Eric Haas being on the roster than I am Cam Gallagher. Yeah. Although, to be honest, I'm not particularly interested with either of them since Carlos Perez. So we will add him to the 40-man, and they're just going to have to enjoy AAA. And we're going to have to waive Eric Haas. That's fine. He was simply a how do you say, tax write-off. I don't know why the word tax write-off is coming to my head. Damiano Palmigiani looks like he's ready for the major leagues. He's batting 176 in our AAA. He's batting 144 on the year total in AAA. So he's probably going to come up simply because we have holes to fill. So I'm going to set up the roster. We're going to I'm going to simulate until trade deadline day, and then we will watch trade deadline day. This has been such a long episode, and I sincerely appreciate anyone that's still tuning in. If you think it's a better idea that I split up my videos into section by section each year, but I feel like that kind of loses, when you kind of divide these episodes up, you kind of lose the atmosphere of each season. I'd like to keep the atmosphere and the situation we're in into one video to emphasize how much deep crap we are in. Insert Moneyball meme where there's 50 feet of crap, and then there's us. That's currently us right now, despite the fact that we've got, don't look at this right now and don't look at that. Strasburg's probably going to come back up to start the second half of the year, and I will make some roster adjustments, et cetera, start bringing up some youngsters that probably should be getting game time. especially now that we have cleaned out some of our roster of the dead weight. So I will see you guys at the trade deadline. Okay, it's July 25th. I am coming back in because I've just received a trade from the Diamondbacks that I am potentially interested in. Mike Rizzo, my assistant GM, likes it, which is usually a good sign. We get a lefty reliever in Joe Mantiply, who is from Virginia. He went to Virginia Tech. And we get minor leaguer reliever Carlos Vargas, who throws 100 miles an hour as an extreme ground baller with 2 fastball pitches and a slider. He has a 2.03 Sierra in AAA, and even in the major leagues this year, he has a 4.71. All things considered, that's not too awful for a 23-year-old. And then we're also going to get Wilfred Patino. Looks like more of a speed guy and elite corner defensive outfielder. Not a great hitter, but if any of this could any bit improve during the offseason, I think we'll be in good hands. All we have to give up is Alex Call, who is having an atrocious season. We've given him 89 games and 75 starts this year. He's batting 178. He has an on-base percentage of 283 and a 259 slugging. That just is not good enough for this level. I'm going to expect that during the offseason, these ratings are going to drop because of his it's just an atrocious performance. He's almost a -2 WAR player. If we continue to play him like this, he's going to be almost a -3 WAR player, and I have no interest in a 28-year-old who cannot, for the life of him, play in the major leagues. It's just I'm not interested, and so this trade interests me considerably. And Mike says if they accept this, they should fire their GM. I'm sure if I were to decrease, they probably wouldn't even consider it without a major prospect. And it's true. So this is definitely a one-sided trade for us, and I'm pretty happy about it because we get to shore up our bullpen with Joe Mantiply, Carlos Vargas, and we get a speedster in Wilfred Patino, who, if he can get that bat to be somewhat average or decent, he could be a pretty good corner outfielder / guy that comes on and is a pinch runner and a good defensive substitution for us. So I'm going to rock it. There's really no reason for me not to. I think that I'm pretty happy about that. The only question is Joe Mantiply. He'll be a free agent next year, which he won't be once I add him to the 40-man roster. I think he's going to go 2 years, 89 days. Let's see how that changes. I'm just going to throw him on right now. And I'm pretty sure that's going to change to possible arbitration. It's going to be close, and even if he goes reach arbitration, we're going to only have to pay him $1.26 million for a ground ball pitcher with a slider, changeup, sinker combo with really good control. 3.88 Sierra for Arizona this year and a 2.14 ERA plus with a 1.94 ERA. Granted, in a very limited sample size. Looks like he must have been injured at some point. Yeah, he had a shoulder soreness to begin the year. Flu-like symptoms. It took him out for about 4 days. Did that say right arm? He had flu-like symptoms in his right arm. And he throws left. So whatever that means. But I think that's just a really good trade, and I think we just got really lucky that the AI generated that trade for us. I guess that Arizona really needs a right fielder or something like that for the playoff push they're going to be attempting to make. And that's about right. They have Jake McCarthy, who's having a good year. I see that 1.1 WAR. Ketel Marte's having a good year. Their left fielder Corbin Carroll is having a really good year, and Dom Fletcher, who everyone saw in the World Baseball Classic in center field. So looks like they're just shoring up their bench and door AAA guys because Alex Call still has, I think, 2-3 years of option years. So I think that's a good trade for both sides. So I will gladly take that. I say good trades, but he's batting 178 with 4 home runs and only 29 ribbies in like 70 games. So how good of a trade is it? So I'll accept that. Again, see you guys in the trade deadline unless another trade like that pops up. I have some bad news. It's July 28th, so we're a few days away from the trade deadline. Luis Garcia has a partially torn labrum, which is extremely scary because 4 months of a missing of time is pretty big for his development at 23 years old, very young 23 years old. And also the complications of having a right shoulder injury as someone who throws the ball with his right arm is pretty scary. We might end up seeing his arm significantly drop because of this. His defensive ratings. It's extremely disappointing, extremely frustrating. I just wanted to come back and point out that he is partially torn his labrum. So we are going to go ahead and move him to the 60-day IL. Victor Arano is coming back from injury. He's coming back from a strained forearm. So I'm going to go ahead and rehab assignment him. And who we're going to call up is a great question. We have 4 really good catchers. Believe me, off screen, I have attempted to shop and trade them extensively, all 3 of them, because they're all 27 or older with 3 30-year-olds who just are not going to make the major league roster because they're just simply not good enough. Eric Haas is not good enough. Sam Gallagher isn't good enough. The only player I'd consider would be maybe Riley Adams, and even that Francisco Arcia for his captain personality type. But even then, just of no interest to me personally. So I don't really want to bring up a third catcher. I'd rather bring a young guy. Oh, speaking of which, I've also decided to call up at the young age of 20. He's going to turn 21 in a couple of months here in September, but I have called him up. He is starting pretty much every single day for us. I want to get these ratings up as high as possible, as fast as possible. We desperately need 6'6", 260-pound James Wood to perform from us. He's not doing awful, at 11% walk rate pretty much straight out of the gate in the major leagues is impressive, even only in a small sample size of 37 plate appearances. But the slugging's a little rough, but that'll come. That's power in the major leagues, especially for youngsters, come with time. And someone who's 6'6", 260, I can't imagine that slugging rate is gonna stay the same by the end of the year. I'm sure when we get towards the end of the year, we're gonna start to see probably not 633 slugging, but probably closer to 400 or something like that, maybe 450. I made the pretty ballsy decision to do a Juan Soto kind of style of dealing with James Wood. I have brought him up straight from AA because he absolutely mashed in AA. I don't really think that I need to see him against AAA competition. I'm sure he'll do really well against AAA competition. This is an extremely good profile for a young 20-year-old, or an older 20-year-old. And 2, I'm going to bring up, I have no idea. I will figure that out. Just wanted to step in and let you guys know that Luis Garcia has a right shoulder injury, so anything could go wrong at any time, and so having really good options in AAA and the minor leagues and stuff like that is very important. And at this point, we do not have that. I'll probably end up bringing up Ildarmo Vargas, just because he's just a really good defensive. He can play defensive second baseman. He can play across the infield, and I don't really particularly have a better option. Eric Mejia, no. And I'm pretty sure that's the only infielders out of any. Chad Pinder, but I'm not particularly interested in bringing Chad Pinder to the major league roster and start paying him. I'm already paying Vargas this money, and I don't want to add Chad Pinder to my finances. No, thank you. So, Blankenhorn's interesting. He has no expectation, but he's already got service time. He might be worth bringing on the 26-year-old with a little bit of pop and can play corner outfielder and has high work ethic and adaptability, but he hasn't really proved he can hit in the major league level. He has 74 OPS plus in AAA, so I might just go ahead and opt for the more defensive option, which is Ildarmo Vargas, who is roughly the same 78 OPS plus. And in the majors, he had a 100 OPS plus in the 12 games started and 32 games he played. So we're going to do that. All right, I'll see you guys at the trade deadline, but I can't imagine we're going to make too many trades because we've already traded pretty much all of our roster. Okay, actually back, still July 28th. I actually checked my inbox, and there's 2 very interesting trades, both from the Diamondbacks, both for Victor Arano, who I don't have a particular, I'll take a shot for you sometime I say particular, but I don't have an interest in keeping long-term. He's 28-year-old reliever. He's 2 stars. In the major leagues this year, he had a 117 FIP minus, 56 ERA plus, and a 6.95 Sierra. He hasn't gotten on the field, hasn't gotten on the pitcher's mound, and we have some A couple of trades to debate here. So one of them, one of the offers is for Victor Arano and Juan Garcia, more of a non-prospect than he is an actual prospect. Christian Montes de Oca is interesting. I mean, he's got so much stuff and so many good pitches that it's just his control and movement that is a little scary, on top of the fact that he is just a bona fide reliever. Nate Savino, non-prospect, just added on, I'm sure, and Levy Kelly, non-prospect for Victor Arano, and we're going to give up Juan. I already said we're going to give up Juan Garcia, but then this one is 21-year-old Yeifer Perdomo, who could be a potential starter, but doesn't look like my scout thinks he's going to improve much. And then Tim Tawa is kind of the bigger guy that I'm interested in here. He's got high leader loyalty, adaptability, and intelligence, and low greed. He can play infield and outfield, and including center field and corner outfield at an elite level. This discipline would be fun and interesting. In Double-A this year, is 75 OPS plus. For a .5 WAR, this strikeout walk ratio is really, really fascinating to me. He's, double digits in the walk column, but also 20 plus strikeout percentage. And we get Austin Pope, just a non-prospect. We'd give up Arano, but this one we'd have to give up something a little bit more than the last one, which is Mason Denneberg, who, in my eyes, probably isn't going to turn out the way that we were hoping it was. He's got good two-way potential, though, and I don't particularly want to give him up. But I would say that I am more interested in Tim Tawa than I am in Christian Montes de Oca. But I think I'm going to lean this one simply because I think we're giving up less, and I think we're getting something a little more interesting in Christian Montes de Oca. This is more of an enigma. It's a ballsier trade than this one. This one seems to be a little bit more solid because of Tim Tawa and the potential of Yeifer Perdomo. Mike Rizzo doesn't like this one, but he likes this one more, it seems like. So I'm going to reject this one, and I am going to go ahead and go forward with this one. So Victor Arano goes bye-bye, and we get Christian Montes de Oca on our lineup. And, he's going to go into our minor league system. I'll find a place on where I want to put him. So, again, we'll be back in 2 days. So sorry. Just, again, more trades. Okay, we're the day before the trade deadline, and we have 2 more AI-generated trades for us that I think are worth our attention and worth discussing in this video. The Dodgers are going to offer us this right fielder, Johnny DeLuca, for left-handed reliever, Matt Cronin, who I'm a little higher on than probably most people. Andrew Lara would be a really, really difficult loss for us. This is a potential. He's 20 years old. He's got so much room to grow and potential to grow. He's pitching relatively well in A-ball and stuff like that. So I think next year he'll probably end up being an A-plus ball. And Elijah Green, that's a really, really tough loss for us. But again, our scout is not as high as the rest of the country is. And we get this guy, Johnny DeLuca. I'm leaning towards no, right? I'm gonna lean towards no. Let me see again, they're not even thinking about trading him. He's really, really good. The only problem is that we have our outfield kind of set already in James Wood, Alex Kirilloff, and our center fielder, whose name escapes me, unfortunately, who is currently injured. So on top of the fact that we're going to have Lane Thomas here for the rest of the year, and we'll probably end up releasing him. So I'm leaning towards no, but I wanted to showcase it because I think it's definitely something for you to consider, to think about this kind of profile of a hitter. He's mashing in AAA at 128 OPS plus. OSA doesn't like him as much as my scout does. He's a fly ball hitter, but he's a spray hitter, so not as much pull power as you're going to have with most fly ball hitters. 65 stolen bases, but I just don't think that Elijah Green and Andrew Lara are worth going for a 25-year-old minor leaguer who we would just have to hope at the age of 25 develops more. So I'm going to reject it. On top of the fact that you give $140,000. But this one I think I'm a little bit more inclined to do. So we're going to get a 24-year-old right-handed pitcher who is doing pretty well in right now. He's in A-ball at a 3.26 Sierra, but a 2.56 Sierra in the 7 games and 15 innings he had in Double-A. Kevin Guerrero, 19-year-old Dominican, who's not doing great in rookie ball and didn't do great in A-ball. But he's a guy, a 19-year-old with some decent potential. And a non-prospect and 23-year-old, pretty much almost 24-year-old Alex Pasarella. And we're going to give up Carl Edwards Jr., who again is in our AAA system, so I don't care. And then this non-prospect in Merton Blanco, who, I don't necessarily see what they see. And so I think it's worth to take the risk on pretty much getting Kelvin Guerrero for maintaining Carl Edwards Jr.'s contract, as well as, this 1.5-star guy. And a potential 2.5-star, and at 19 years old, so much room to grow. And we're giving up a guy that is in our AAA system that's making $2 million a year, and then a non-prospect in our rookie ball complex. So I think this is a pretty easy trade to make. And again, you guys can go ahead and think about that. Think about if you would do that or not. I think it's just good enough to warrant taking it. So Carl Edwards Jr. is gone. We're retaining 70% of his contract, but that's okay. He's gone. I mean, we're not going to have to keep paying him next year. So been trying to trade Carl Edwards Jr. I got a bunch of trade offers for Carl Edwards Jr. And when I shop him around, like there was nobody was getting me anything, whether it was single prospect, veterans, packages, nothing. But for some reason, the AI was filling up here's one for Carl. We're filling up my inbox for Carl Edwards Jr. I don't understand. Here's a really bad one. I don't understand why my guy likes it so much, but Brandon Drury for Kyber Ruiz straight up. I don't understand why he liked that. Mike Rizzo liked that so much. It's like, Mike, you signed Kyber Ruiz. Yency Almonte's on the waivers, and it was a thing for me here about whether to sign Yency Almonte. I'm a big fan of his in real life, and he's done pretty well this year with a 1.53 ERA plus an 88 FIP minus and a 3.41 Sierra. But again, arbitration, we're worried about saving as much money as possible so we can have as much flexibility as possible with our youngsters and potential free agent signings. Ohtani is in free agency next year, so if we can clear up a good amount of space for the potential of signing someone who we can build a team around, I mean, especially considering I feel like we have significantly improved our minor league system pretty well. James Woods come up pretty well. Cole Henry has done very, very well in a reliever role for us. And players like Armando Cruz, and currently in our lineup right now is Jonathan Aranda, who I'm relatively high on, CJ Abrams, Louis Garcia, Kyber Ruiz, we feel like we've got a decent young core around to build around a singular superstar that can two-way play. So if we can sign Shohei Ohtani, that's going to be the goal. But, I mean, likeliness is probably not, considering the financial burden that would end up causing. So let's move forward to a day so we can get to the trade deadline and we can get this over with so we can just wrap up the season, because there is just nothing left for us. Okay, we got the Venezuelan Yu Darvish here with fastball, slider, curveball, changeup, sinker, cutter. Just missing a splitter there. As the trade deadline is here, let's take a look. Rafael Montero is making $11 million for the next 3 years. No thanks. Ahmad Rosario, not interested. Andrew Heaney, not interested in that contract, and also that lack of movement. Joe Jimenez, again, just free agent next year. That's why he's on there. Jerks Profar is a free agent next year. Not interested in that. And Brandon Drury is also on the trading block, but a free agent in 2 years. No, thank you. All right, so if anyone is new to the trade deadline day, so you're going to get 5 minutes for each round. I think there are 5 rounds total. To shop players, et cetera, et cetera. AI are going to send you deals and all that kind of jazz. So, first things first is I like to just look at some of the win now guys, like the Boston Red Sox, or who might be willing to trade some prospects. Take a look at their prospects and see who they would be willing to trade for. That's what I'm going to do really for the most part. Oswaldo Peraza's here. I'm sorry. They traded Oswaldo Peraza for Lou Trevino. Wait, no, they got for Justin Turner. I'm sorry. Yankees, if you were going to send a bad trade and give away Oswaldo Peraza, I would have offered. I don't understand. What happened? Nick York's a pretty big prospect. Not too interested in trading any of these guys, and that's not particularly too. Excuse me. Damn, it's a good player. Dang, that is a good player. I see the eye potential. I see the power potential, and I just go ooga ooga. Like prankster personality, can't field to save his life, but that's okay because the bat makes up for it. Marcelo Mayer, I can't imagine they want. Okay, so they don't want to trade any prospects for any of my players, which isn't too shocking. About Colson Montgomery, yeah, not too surprising there. None of these players particularly interest me. Yeah, so they don't want anything. Tigers are rebuilding. Whoops, wrong thing. Win now. Angels win now. You give me Ben Joyce. I will gladly take Ben Joyce. No. Yeah, I didn't think so. Denzer Guzman. No. Bayron Lora? No. Any of these guys? Just taking a quick peek. Again, I've traded most of the guys that I think that I want to end up trading. So it's really I'm not really like fretting whether or not I'm gonna be able to get any prospects here at the last trade deadline. I'll go ahead and this first round. I'm just gonna do this. Look and see if they're just like the Yankees ended up doing, trading away a ridiculous prospect for I don't know somebody ridiculous. Let's see if they'll do it to me. I'll take Jason Dominguez. Smile. No. How about Roger Arias? No. Antonio Gomez? No. Sacramento? No, that was Everson Pereira. No, they don't want to. Mets obviously win now mode. Hey, I'll take Francisco Alvarez. He's not even on the Major League roster right now. Oh, yeah, he's not. Why? Why would you do that? Why? Nope. And then they'll just go to the win now guys, Phillies, who we have traded with in the past for this result for they have Jose Siri. I was looking for Siri. He didn't pop up on my waivers, which is really frustrating because I'm a big fan of grabbing Jose Siri on the waivers because he is a great defender, but he ended up falling through the cracks. I didn't end up seeing him, which is really disappointing for me because I like to grab him most saves. A little frustrating. I'm not going to give up an elite defensive shortstop for a catcher. Padres. Oh, Padres. Come on. We've done deals in the past. We can work something now. What do you want? Lamar King Jr., Jackson Merle. How about Dylan Lesko? How about Samuel Zavala? Not to be confused with legendary catcher Sebi Zavala. Nope, doesn't look like anyone's too particularly interested. But again, take a shot to particularly. I will try my best to cut that out next episode. But sitting here doing all one recording, as you can see how long this video is, this has been a little grueling. This Rangers farm system is really good for a team that has DeGrom, Simeon Seager, and company. Mitch Garver, Adolis Garcia. Okay, well, that's that. So we're going to go ahead and move forward. And then we're going to start looking at our salaries and start thinking about shopping people. Steven Strasburg, let's go ahead and let's see if we can get anything from him. Gonna presume now. I'm gonna use all 5 of my shops today. No, someone considered it. No. Okay, here we go. 90% of his contract. I mean, okay, so listen, here's the thing, right? He's a really good player now. He's a good starting pitcher, don't get me wrong. This fastball, curveball, changeup. But he's selfish. He's got high greed, low leader, low loyalty. So he can be a locker room disruption if we don't have the right leaders and captains in our locker room, which can be difficult to find sometimes. And he's 35 years old. He just turned 35 not too long ago, July 20th, so 11 days ago. He is going to decline rapidly. He is going to decline so harshly over the offseason, even with my .9 aging development rating. I think he's going to be very poor. So I won't trade him if I'm not comfortable with the amount of things that I got for him. But if I can get something that I am interested in and work out a deal, I am gonna do it. Right, I am gonna do it. I don't even think he would consider the Oak. Is he really considering the Oakland Athletics? He is. Yep. Naturally, right. Austin Slater's a fun one, but no thanks. Not a lot of prospects, which is a little frustrating. I was combing through this Cubs offering of players here, and it does interest me. Keegan Thompson and Nick Madrigal do entice me to a certain extent. Void Case is fun. Obviously, he's a prototypical leadoff guy. No pop. 0 home runs. He only had 1 in AAA this year, and then he had 0 the year before, and then he had 2 for the White Sox in 2021. A pretty good on base guy. I'm a little disappointed by the walk ratio here. He's a captain. He's gonna ask for $2.2 million. We have Luis Garcia coming off the IL, and we still have Armanda, who can play second base. Granted, not very well. He's definitely more of a first baseman. But I am interested in Keegan Thompson. This fastball is definitely something to look at. I think he's got 1 option year remaining after this year, so that is fun. Mark Leiter Jr. I am a fan of. He's going to go into arbitration. He's going to ask for $3 million, which is good, which is totally understandable because he's an extremely talented reliever in this game with starter potential. So let's go with Keegan Thompson. Let's see if we can get anything more out of it. Hey, man, let me get Peter Crow Armstrong, right? What, dude? What are you talking about? How could they not take that? Many players that they just want a non-prospect for. Just taking a quick peek. You know how I be? Trying to grind as much as possible. I am limited on time, though. Brennan Davis is a fun one. Not fun enough, I don't think. Okay, here's a fun one. Alexis Hernandez. Whoa. That's a good one. Okay. Why do I remember seeing worse players here? Anyone not young? Unfortunately not, as they are rebuilding. That does make sense. That checks out. Although the rebuilding part and wanting to sign Steven Strasburg does not. And they won't even let me drop below 85%, so I'd maintain $29 million for the next 4 years. I free up a roster spot. I'll probably let the time run out so I can, let's all, again, a more philosophical conversation with everybody. He's going to fall off a cliff, right? So he might not be worth getting rid of now necessarily, but I think this might be the best we're going to get out of him is Keegan Thompson. I could even see if they would also add in Nick Madrigal, which they would. And Madrigal I could even trade off next year during arbitration, or during this offseason next episode during arbitration. Having a captain for the rest of the season might be pretty good for development-wise, like James Wood and all that, to be able to lock up the locker room for the rest of the year. And also have a decent and a somewhat decent second baseman for the rest of the year, rather than playing someone out of position at second base. CJ Abrams, I think long term, I'd like to play at second base, and Luis Garcia moved to third base. I don't know if Nick Madrigal is a long term trade piece. I think he's just more short term. I think he solves some problems. So I think I am going to go with this trade, mainly because I simply do not want. I do not want to keep Steven Strasburg aged 35 during the offseason. He's fragile. I don't want to sit there and not be able to move him. I want to be able to move him at the right time. So, I think this is gonna end up. Let me see if I can get any sort of money. Can I get $5 million? I'm asking for a small loan of 4 million. No, how about 2 million? Nope. They would give me 1 million. And again, if I even try and drop it down, they're asking for, Palagiani and Elijah Green, Susana. So this is probably what we're gonna go with. I think this is just about good enough for me to do. So, close your eyes. It's a really ugly trade. Like I am so mad that I have to make this trade, but the GM before me kind of screwed me over with Steven Strasburg's contract. We signed long-term extensions for players like Steven Strasburg and Patrick Corbin, both of which are kind of, Strasburg for his own reasons is a fragile, injury-prone pitcher, and Patrick Corbin had like 2 good years and really only has a 2-pitch mix. That's any bit effective. So, but don't sign players like Juan Soto and Trey Turner and Bryce Harper and Anthony Rendon and the list goes on and on and on. So, yeah, I mean Keegan Thompson, Nick Madrigal. Hey man, I'm a big fan of the Madrigals and Encanto. So, we will go with this trade, and we will just have to vomit after doing it, because this is brutal for the next 4 years. This really, really caps our potential, and I'm still shocked that Patrick Corbin is on the major league roster for the Seattle Mariners. I'm sorry. Can I clear this up? He was traded on June 11th, or July 11th. July 11th. Okay. I was thinking there. I thought he's only pitched 6 innings, and he's just so bad. So bad. Okay, so we've done that. Yay. We can wipe our hands clean. We have Keegan Thompson here, who I am going to put on the major league roster. And I am going to go ahead and call down Ildamar Vargas to bring in Nick Madrigal. And we are going to move forward. And really only interested in trades that are going to be offered to me. I'm not particularly interested. I said particularly again, sue me. And looking to trade any more players. I don't understand why my GM really wants me to trade Cobb Ruiz. This is such a team-friendly deal for a pretty good player. Granted, he's had a really, really rough year. But I'm sure what's his BABIP this year? He's at 267 BABIP. That's really unfortunate, considering last year he had 271 BABIP. The ISO is about the same. The strikeout percentage is a little bit worse. His walk percentage is a little bit worse. So hopefully he cleans that up during the offseason. But not going to say it. Almost said it. Yeah. Didn't even reject it. I'm rejecting this. I'm not even going to entertain it. All right, that is the end of the trade deadline. We are finally here for the second half of the season. I'm just simulating to the end. The end is almost here. And I'm going to simulate to the end. This is an abysmal year. This is probably one of the worst years I've ever had in any out of the park baseball save I've ever done. I've at least been able to squeeze as much value out of these players as much as possible. But these players just aren't responding to me. These are good overall players with good ratings who are just severely underperforming my expectations for them. So, hopefully everything clears up. We got really unlucky with some injuries in Luis Garcia and Michael Ciani. Hunter Harvey, very unfortunate. Sean Doolittle, very unfortunate. Oh, Addison Barker, that's extremely tragic. He has a partially torn labrum. That's going to hurt his development. Darren Baker. I mean, this has just been a brutal season. So hopefully everything gets cleared up next year. So I'm going to simulate till the end of the year, barring any sort of major waiver wire transactions. And even then, I'll probably just save and just kind of list all of the waiver wire people that I've picked up if I see any that interest me. So I appreciate you guys for, powering through this with me. This has been mentally exhausting. This has been emotionally exhausting as a Washington Nationals fan. And hopefully each season doesn't take this long to record and to edit and to and to sit there and watch for you guys to watch. So hopefully everything gets better. And because this is just I'm not happy. This is a depressing lineup. Voice crack. This is a depressing lineup. Dominic Smith has 4 home runs in 71 games. That is so bad for your first baseman. I can't even look at this team anymore. So I'm simming. I will see you guys at the end of the season where we can take a look about what happened around the league and just try not to be. Okay, we are finally here. It is the end of the season. Finally. Some positive notes at the end of the season is our offense really kicked it into gear here with a lot of our youngsters. James Wood really stepped up here at the end of the season. If you guys remember, he was like slugging like 2 something, and I said he'd be around 400, 350, and he ended up doing that. His walk to strikeout rate boosted up back into the double digits of walks. Kyber Ruiz ended with an 80 OPS plus. That's not awful for a catcher. You definitely expect better than that out of this, but he upped that walk rate like we saw. I think he was at 4.7. It ended up being 6.2 at the end of the season. You can see CJ Abrams nearly batted 300, and even despite that, still only had a 94 OPS plus. He's got no pop. And by no pop, he actually does. He has 9 home runs. He has 50 home run power. And I'm hoping at the end or at the beginning of next year, this is slightly better. Hopefully he puts on some more weight in the weight room. But 75 power, 65 gap power. It's this ground ball hitter that's a little stressful, but hopefully that ends up working itself out. Nick Madrigal did pretty well for us. He batted 300 for us in the 54 games he ended up playing for us. Dom Smith ended the year with a 67 OPS plus. He will not play another game in a Nationals uniform. Derek Hill ends the season as the starter as Michael Ciani ended up coming back, but then he got injured again with a strained posterior crucial ligament in his right knee. Good news about that is that it is not the same body part, so hopefully that is just, he just missed the end of the season, and hopefully he comes back better next year. Some more fun things about this roster. 4th in batting average, that's exciting. We were 8th in WOBA. We were 14th in home runs, and it would be really funny if what I predicted in the beginning of the episode, if anyone can remember that long ago, that I think that we would finish last, and if not last, we would only finish above the Marlins. And the Marlins were, in fact, 15th in home runs. So a little bit spot on there for me. I'm pretty impressed. Pat myself on the back. Despite the fact they had someone hit 21 home runs, I don't think we had someone hit 21 home runs for us now. The nearest was Alex Kirilloff, who entered the year with a 108 OPS plus, which is pretty good. So we will gladly take that. Jonathan Aranda batted 160 OPS plus with 356 average, a 436 OBP, and a 553 slugging, 553 slugging. Hopefully he continues that into next year. I'm looking forward to seeing how he does next year. Pitching wise, it was abysmal. Brant Herter ended up our ace at the end of the year, and it wasn't great, 88 ERA plus, but a 353 BABIP. Again, our infield is not a great defensively, so that should explain that. Josiah Gray ended with an 82 ERA plus, but Sierra suggested hopefully more positive regression in 3.58 Sierra, as his previous years have suggested that Sierra that he is due for a big year at some time. Keegan Thompson ended in our lineup. He ended up with 3.27 Sierra, a .5 WAR season for him, for us in 11 games. That's not awful. Thad Ward, our Rule 5 draft pick, ended up doing okay. 2 WAR, 99 FIP minus, so technically above average per FIP. And Sierra was 4.08, so it seems like he was he performed about what his Sierra's peripherals expected him to. Jake Irvin, he a little unlucky with the BABIP. The ERA plus FIP minus don't agree, and Sierra don't agree with his ERA from him. And our closer ended up being Carlos Vargas, who had a 475 BABIP. So extremely lucky, an extreme ground baller. a 2.39 whip, and that's not because he gave up more home runs or more walks or didn't strike out as much as he normally does. He just got BABIP'd. Very unfortunate. Expecting some good stuff from him next year. Nick Nelson, our pickup, ended the year the 6.46 ERA, which isn't great, but yeah, hey man, that was just a salary dump. Okay, bye Adiel Hernandez. Good luck with that. Just trying to get something out of him. Who's fun? Tayron Guerrero was who we traded for. Again, very unlucky with this BABIP. Really just seems like we just got BABIP to death in the bullpen. On top of the fact this bullpen is just this pitching rotation is just trash. It is just simply trash. Mantipley performed as it's again BABIP to death. I mean, it's just truly unlucky. As you can see, our zone rating was 14th in the NL. Our defensive efficiency was 15th in the NL. But our errors was only third, so not a lot of errors committed, so we'll take that. We were second in stolen bases, third in base running. That's exciting. Stuff to look forward to at least, but 11th in batting war and 11th in pitching war. Take a quick brief look at the standings before we move on. We'll watch the World Series. The Orioles won the AL East. Tampa Bay Rays finished second. Red Sox, Yankees, and Blue Jays all missed out on the playoffs. Twins won the AL Central. White Sox finished in the wild card spot. Royals, Guardians, Tigers. Astros, unsurprisingly, won the AL West with the Mariners finish in the wild card spot. Disappointing for the Rangers and Angels, who had very good seasons, but just unfortunately were a few games out of making a wild card spot. The AL seems like it was really good. There looks like the NL was a little more top heavy in the NL. The Mets and Braves go forward in the NL East. The Phillies missed the playoffs. Sorry, Bryce. The Reds win 90 games. Who saw that coming? Because they scored the most runs and also had the highest OPS and highest WOBA and most home runs. Jake Fraley hit 32. Noelvi Marte hit 20. Casas hit 19. Spencer Steer hit 19. Corey Dickerson and Victor Robles are there. Hey, guys, good luck. We'll be cheering for you. Alexi Diaz is their closer, and Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, Trevor Williams, Connor Overton, and Louis Sessa is their starting rotation. So that's a good year for them. And Dodgers won 104 games. Padres, Diamondbacks. That's a really tough division. Poor Giants and Rockies. Poor guys. 7 games back from the wild card spot in the NL and only 2 games back. I mean, look at this difference, right? For 2, 3, 3, 5, 7, 12, 16, 21, 22, 25, 25, 29, 30. Poor Cubs. Dansby Swanson, I was going to say tried his best, but it doesn't look like he did, actually. Looks like he got an injury at some point. He got, we don't like to see 2 left knee injuries. That's tough. Hopefully he is okay. And Cody Bellinger did Cody Bellinger things again. 82 OPS plus last year, 83 OPS plus this year. At least he had 1 WAR last year, and this year only has 0.6. So unfortunate. Steven Strasburg performed like crap for them. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's just go ahead. Let's watch the playoffs. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. The playoffs is for Stuckers. Oh, if you guys want to see any of the statistic leaders, here you go. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Charlie Blackmon wins your batting title. Right. Schwarber hit 55 home runs. Juan Soto walked a bunch. Mike Trout led in WAR. OPS was Aaron Judge. There you go. Stealing bases was Esteury Ruiz. I think a lot of people are projecting him to be the leader this year as well. Surprised not to see Corbin Carroll on that list. Eugenio Suarez had the most strikeouts. Most walks was Aaron Judge or Juan Soto. But close second was Aaron Judge. Good job, Aaron Judge. Pitching leaders, here you go. ERAs, Dylan Cease. Most wins, Kevin Gausman, Taiwo Kershaw, and Brandon Woodruff. Taijuan Walker had the most losses. He went 3-22. Oh my God, 3-22. He started 33 games. What happened? 3-22. Oh my God. Ben Joyce. Did I see Ben Joyce's name? No, I made that up. 6.3 F4 from Jacob DeGrom. Corbin Burns had the most innings pitched and most complete games. No Alcantara here. FIP is Kirby. Whip is DeGrom. Strikeouts DeGrom. Blake Snell is base on balls. 261 BABIP from Framber Valdez. There you go. There's all that. Fielding leaders, if anyone cares. There you go. Hey, Kevin Biggio. King. Mickey Rojas, most assists. Cool. All right, let's watch the playoffs. Here we go. Load it up, baby. All right, here we go. Hey, I'm trying to watch the playoffs. Can I not be bothered with the stress of the being the GM of the Nationals? Braves beat the Padres. Diamondbacks beat the Reds. Twins beat the Rays. Seattle Mariners beat the White Sox. Oh my God, leave me alone. Okay, that's great. I hope he's okay, but please stop. Okay, Astros 2-0. Here we go. I think Astros are probably going to end winning. Braves win. Diamondbacks beat the Mets. Twins beat the Orioles. Come on, Diamond. I want to see Diamondbacks Twins. Who would have saw that coming? Oh my God, leave me alone. Leave me alone. All right, here we go. Hey, here we go. Diamondbacks 3-1 lead. 4-1. There we go. Diamondbacks. Maybe Twins. Oh, no. Cade Cavalli. No, dude. Oh, my God. That is just awful. He had a setback. He won't be back for another 9 months. So he's not going to be ready for the beginning of next season. He might be ready by June or July. Our best starting pitcher. Man, this is, they're throwing a lot of. This is really, really tragic. This is just not fun. This has not been a fun save, but we persevere. This is why we're the Oh No Nats. Okay, this is quite literally what we said, and it's the Twins. Okay, Twins Diamondbacks, baby. Oh, down 3-1. They pulled a LeBron James. Come back from 3-1 there. Wow. Minnesota Twins are World Series champions over the Arizona Diamondbacks. Talk about two. This really should have been probably it, the Astros versus Braves. But nope, it's the Twins Diamondbacks, naturally. We built our farm. That's exciting. Okay, season's over. Okay, that's just, you don't got to show me that. Okay, that is the end of the season. We will move on to all of this off-season stuff. I will look through all of the waiver wire people. Hey, Noah Syndergaard. And we will make decisions on arbitration. We'll make decisions on free agents. We'll make decisions on Rule 5 draft. We'll make decisions on trades, et cetera, et cetera. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for so long. This has been like mentally destabilizing. This has been one of the worst saves I've ever had. And that includes, I've done a national save with the Out of the Park Baseball 24. And I've also, obviously, I've done the Nats pretty much every single year. And I don't think that I've ever had one go this wrong with so many injuries, all of our pitchers getting BABIP to death. Look at this ERA versus the FIP difference, the runs against versus the pitcher WAR, which accounts for FIP because it is F WAR, and just lack of options on the waiver wire were really, really dry this year. I didn't get Jose Siri, who was someone I was hoping to get, but obviously we ended up with Ciani, which I'm not too upset about. Obviously, I think he's a pretty good player. But this has just been mentally exhausting, and I am just so happy that we're at the end and we can start looking forward to next season and potentially moneyball our way into the playoffs, right? We're going to have a pretty good draft pick next year. And we're going to have some fun free agents, and hopefully we can free up enough cash to make a splash, or maybe make one splash, or a couple splashes into the free agent market. And if we can't, then we end up just nickel and diming our way through free agency and getting the best misfit players that we can get that nobody else wants, so that we will gladly take. So be sure to tune in next episode, where the off season, which is always usually the most exciting part, especially for a team that just went 65 and 97, in following up and getting excited for the next year. So hopefully you guys tune into the next episode. Please, if you guys like this video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And if you maybe don't want these like hour plus long season videos, let me know if that's the kind of general consensus. But as I stated previously, I think that it just makes a little bit more sense to have one whole video, because you kind of get the vibe and the sense of in this video at least, existential dread that I continue to face as notification after notification popped up about how bad we were. But again, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Don't forget the comment or the question that I asked halfway through the video, to see who is a real one and watch the entire video, and who skipped through some of the video. Now, I'm calling you out. You heard me. All right. All right, guys. See you guys next episode and during the off season.